Chapter 43-57. Now that the emperor gave her the title of Princess Jingshan and gave her special power, of course, Tanggua had to go out of the palace to see her biological mother. She didn't have a good impression of Princess Yunjin. This person's brain wasn't clear. In her memory, Princess Yunjin was very fond of Meng Shirin, her fake daughter. She was very happy to have her daughter back. When the truth of the matter was exposed, Princess Yunjin wasn't close to the original owner. In her heart, she would rather Meng Shirin was her daughter. The original owner had experienced hardships that outsiders couldn't imagine. Of course, it was impossible for her to live an easy and happy life. Her personality was distorted, extreme, and sensitive. These characteristics were normal. Originally, she thought that if she could find her identity and return to her position, she wouldn't have to suffer in this life and could punish the evil people who harmed her. Who would have thought that when she was taken back to Princess Yunjin's side, she didn't get any comfort from her biological mother. She didn't even say that she had suffered. At that time, this matter didn't become big, but the emperor still sent Meng Shirin and the Meng family to prison. However, at that time, Wei Sun was not asked to investigate this matter. The empress had been persuading him that this matter couldn't become big. The task of investigating this matter was given to the crown prince. There was no need to say who the crown prince, Tang Wenpan, favored. After the investigation, Meng Shirin and the Meng family were naturally innocent, and the brothel keeper, Lu Yu, was also forced. As a result, Lord Lu was ordered to be punished by the emperor. When Tang Wenpan talked about this matter, he deliberately didn't talk about Lu Yu's situation. He said that everything was ordered by Lord Lu, so Lu Yu escaped. She lived in humiliation and waited for such a result. How could the original owner, who was on the verge of a mental breakdown, still maintain a calm heart? Especially because Meng Shirin was sent to prison. She looked at her biological mother, who was worried about this matter every day, and her heart became more and more twisted. At that time, she vowed in her heart that she would make Lu Yu die a horrible death. Unfortunately, she wasn't very likable. All of this made her full of thorns. How could she fight against Meng Shirin, who was loved by thousands? Her biological mother, Princess Yunjin, said that she was unreasonable and told her to stop and not go too far. She also said that it would be good if she was 30% as sensible as Meng Shirin. What the host hated the most was people comparing her with Meng Shirin. Was Meng Shirin worthy? The person who had snatched everything away from her, was he worthy? When these words were said by her biological mother, it was as painful as a sharp knife cutting her flesh piece by piece. Princess Yunjin didn't like the host, but she felt that this degenerate daughter was a disgrace to her reputation as a princess. They didn't grow up together, so naturally, he didn't like her. In fact, he even felt a little disgusted. She thought that her biological daughter was not like her, that she was ruthless and vicious. The crown prince and some other princes, who were the original owner's cousins, also felt that her methods were cruel and her temperament was strange. She was not easy to get along with. They often warned her not to go overboard, otherwise, they would not be polite. The empress appeared to be kind on the surface, but under her benevolent appearance, she hid evil intentions. Every word about her was provoking her, causing her to lose her composure. She even did some rude things when the crowd couldn't bear it anymore. The emperor rarely asked about these things. He trusted the empress wholeheartedly. He thought that this virtuous empress would definitely handle this matter well. Therefore, the original owner's reputation was passed down to her by the empress, the crown prince, and the princes. Everyone around her said so, so it was hard not to believe. The Peak. Chapter 43-58. The original owner had done many things and was caught by others, but she was never punished. Speaking of which, it was the emperor who protected her. Unfortunately, too many things happened later. He couldn't protect her, so he agreed to send her to a bitter and cold place. The marriage was designed by the crown prince and several princes. First, the king of the small foreign country would like the original owner. The emperor also had his own purpose at that time. Since his niece couldn't stay in the capital and always cause trouble, it was better to send her to a more open foreign country to be the queen. At that time, he would reward her with more gold and silver, as well as some people, so no one would bully her. The emperor didn't know that those people were the crown prince, several princes, and the young masters of aristocratic families. For Meng Shireen, these people could peacefully cooperate. It was a miracle. Tang Gua stopped thinking. This time, the evidence was conclusive. She also made a big deal out of it. Let's not talk about Meng Shireen, who had the halo of the female lead. What would happen in the end? Liu Yu would definitely lose her head. The Meng family would never have a good day again. The house would definitely be confiscated. Meng Lei probably couldn't escape death. As for the Meng family, it would depend on their fate. Tang Guo really didn't want Meng Shireen to die like this. Death would be the end of all troubles. It was much simpler than the pain of living. She also wanted to see the scene of Meng Shireen being pointed at by thousands of people. Tang Guo sat in the carriage to go to Princess Yunjin's mansion. This was the first time she was going to see her biological mother. The person the emperor arranged to escort her was Wei Sun. She didn't know if he felt that Princess Yunjin didn't pay much attention to her. He was afraid that she would be bullied. This time, the emperor paid attention to it and also arranged his confidant Wei Sun to investigate the truth. The crown prince and others wanted to hide it, but it was undoubtedly a fool's dream. It was funny to say that she, the real biological daughter, had been in the palace for many days. Princess Yunjin's biological mother, she didn't know why she was not in a hurry to come to the palace to see her. Most likely, she was worried about Meng Shireen in the prison. The carriage moved slowly, as if she was afraid of bumping the people sitting in the carriage. After walking for a long time, they finally arrived at Princess Yunjin's residence. When Tang Guo got off the carriage, Wei Sun informed the gatekeeper of the purpose of his visit. The gatekeeper looked surprised. He stole a glance at Tang Guo and hurriedly bowed. After getting permission, he turned around and ran to call for her. In the princess manner, Princess Yunjin was indeed worried about Meng Shireen being imprisoned. The crown prince, Tang Wenpan, wasn't present, but a few of the young masters of the aristocratic families and a few princes who admired Meng Shireen were present. Imperial father is very angry about this matter. Lord Lu's house has already been confiscated. I'm afraid it will be the Meng family's turn next. Aunt Yunjin, you have to save Shireen. Shireen definitely doesn't know. She also didn't want to pretend to be Aunt Yunjin's daughter. If someone hadn't recognized the jade pendant, Shireen wouldn't have been involved. Yes, Shireen is kind-hearted. If she knew the seriousness of this matter, she definitely wouldn't have pretended to be someone else. Shireen also said that the person who gave her the jade pendant said that this jade pendant was related to her identity. It was obviously a conspiracy of that person. Shireen didn't know about it. Princess Yunjin, Shireen is indeed innocent. She shouldn't be implicated. I don't know if you can plead with the emperor to let Shireen go. She really didn't do anything wrong in this matter. The Summit. Chapter 43-59. The only mistake should be that she accepted that person's jade pendant. She really believed that her life was related to that jade pendant. When eldest Princess Yunjin heard these people pleading for Meng Shireen, she was moved. However, she remembered that the emperor was determined to punish her, so there was no other way. 2 days ago, she went to plead, but the emperor said that this matter had its own conclusion. She didn't need to say anything, and he would give the real young princess an explanation. Eldest Princess Yunjin was speechless. How could she be worried about her biological daughter? Was it her biological daughter brought back now? She was fine. She heard that she was famous in the capital and didn't lose her virginity, so this matter wasn't too serious. But Shireen was different. Because of this matter, the innocent Shireen was implicated and might lose her life. How could she sit back and do nothing? Shireen was so well-behaved and sweet. She knew how to make her happy. Since she recognized her daughter, she ate, drank, and slept well. She felt that everything went smoothly. This child didn't deliberately pretend to be her. It was just that the people under her were careless, so it was a misunderstanding. Shireen didn't do anything to her biological daughter. Speaking of which, Shireen was also an innocent person. She didn't know why the emperor insisted on putting Shireen and the Meng family in prison. Eldest Princess Yunjin wanted to say that she would choose a time to enter the palace to plead. Unexpectedly, someone came to report that Princess Jingshan had come. The people present were stunned. Who was Princess Jingshan? Soon, they reacted. Wasn't she the real young princess, the Princess Jingshan who was now conferred the title by the emperor? It was said that the emperor also gave her a very special power. She could be regarded as a blessing in disguise, but Shireen was still suffering in prison. This was the thought of everyone present, including eldest Princess Yunjin. Because of this matter, eldest Princess Yunjin didn't like her biological daughter very much. It was said that if it weren't for the other party, things wouldn't have become so big and caused Shireen to suffer. Now, she only wanted to save Shireen's life. She didn't dare to ask for more. Since she had come, she still had to see her. When Tang Guo walked in, she only felt that the surroundings were a little cold. She faintly glanced around and found that there were quite a lot of people here. Apart from Crown Prince Tang Wenpan, Meng Shireen's other admirers were all here, just as she had expected. She greeted eldest Princess Yunjin, which could be considered a meeting. Princess Yunjin's response was a little stiff. It seemed like she didn't want to get close to her biological daughter. Meng Shireen's admirers looked at her with hostility, as if she was the one who wanted to harm Meng Shireen. For the time being, it could be considered that. She really didn't want Meng Shireen to have a good life, but why should she have a good life? The conversation between Tang Guo and Princess Yunjin was also very strange. It was like two people who were not familiar with each other and were just exchanging pleasantries. Princess Yunjin didn't ask her what kind of hardships she had suffered these days, or what kind of life she had been living after she got lost. She didn't even show the slightest bit of pity on her face. Tang Guo felt that he was being perfunctory and absent-minded, but she didn't mind. After seeing the memories, she didn't have much hope for Princess Yunjin. Mount Jing, you can be regarded as a blessing in disguise. Princess Yunjin suddenly changed the topic, looking around. The only princess in our Baiguang country who can be valued so much by the emperor is you. Not only are you allowed to marry freely, but you are also granted the title of princess and a mansion. This is uncle's love. Princess Yunjin's eyes suddenly turned red, and she squeezed out a few drops of tears. She was clearly acting for Tang Guo to see. The Summit. Chapter 4360. Tang Guo didn't care about the other party's wishes and asked her what happened. So, she handed over a handkerchief and asked with concern, "Mother, did the sand blow into your eyes?" Princess Royal Yunjin originally thought that Tang Guo would ask her what happened and if she was wronged. She didn't expect that when Tang Guo asked her if the sand entered her eyes, she forgot to respond. She didn't say a word and could only swallow the words she had prepared. "Mother, there seems to be a guest here, so I won't stay any longer. Uncle's orders have not been done yet. There are many women waiting for this daughter to save. Forgive this daughter for not being able to accompany mother." What else could Princess Royal Yunjin do? she could only let Tang Guo go for the time being. It was not suitable to say what she wanted to say before. If she opened her mouth, she would be hindering the emperor from ordering Mount Jing to do proper business. She wasn't in a hurry. She was in the capital and couldn't run away. She should go to the palace to beg the emperor first, and then ask the empress to help intercede. What if it worked? If it didn't work, she would go to Mount Jing. Since Mount Jing could consider those women who were abducted into prostitution, their hearts should be kind. They didn't want the innocent Shireen to lose her life. Tang Guo looked at Princess Royal Yunzhen's appearance and knew what the other party wanted to say. She had nothing to say to such a mother. After leaving Princess Royal's mansion, she got on the carriage and went to her own mansion. The mansion was ready-made. It only took some time to renovate it. After that, it was all up to her. Tang Guo really didn't stay idle. Her uncle, the emperor, had already spoken, telling her to do whatever she wanted. Now, the first thing she had to do was to arrange for people to bring the group of students from the beautiful Immortal Academy to the Princess Mansion. This was her team, and they were absolutely loyal to her. She was their backer. The emperor had heard of her idea. Although he had some doubts about those women in his heart, he was willing to see what result she could make. All of this was based on her talent that moved the emperor. Otherwise, even if the emperor pitied her experience, he wouldn't let her mess around. Lon Lon and the others really didn't expect that they would go out one day. When they found out that Tang Guo was the real princess, they weren't surprised. However, they didn't expect that Tang Guo didn't forget them and even wanted to take them out of this man-eating devil's den. They were happy, hesitant, and a little flustered. They didn't know what to do when they got out. When they stepped into the clean and elegant princess mansion of Mount Jing, they were even more nervous. They had never thought of such a place before. You don't have to be nervous. I brought you out because I lack helpers. I just thought of you guys and thought that you guys should be able to do it. Being assigned a task as soon as they arrived made them feel much more at ease. Princess Jing Shan took them out of the ogre cave, and they should be used by the other party. As long as they don't live the same life as before, it's fine even if they are a bit tired. But they never thought that what Tang Guo wanted them to do was something that would affect all the women in the world. They were excited and couldn't believe that they could do such a thing. Whether they believed it or not, they were already doing what Tang Guo told them to do. The first thing was to find out who had abducted them. The girls who stayed in the beautiful Immortal Academy regretted it. When Tang Guo taught them skills seriously, many people thought that these things were boring and couldn't be learnt, so they simply didn't learn. In their opinion, learning to write, read, and write poems was too difficult. The Summit. Chapter 43-61. If she wanted to deal with those elegant guests, how could she learn these in a short time? It was better to sell her smile, play songs, make the guests happy, and serve the guests well. She could even get more money. How could they know that they missed an opportunity to change their fate? It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. After being annoyed, they could only accept their fate. They didn't even dare to complain, because it was Princess Jingshan. These little prostitutes, didn't dare to complain. Ying herself had some talent. Even if Tang Guo was powerful, she was not convinced and even a little jealous. Naturally, she didn't ask Tang Guo for advice. She was Mama Lu's confidant and never thought of having a good relationship with Tang Guo. Now, looking at those girls who were not as good as her, they were all taken to the princess mansion by Tang Guo. Her heart was full of sadness. Mama Lu had been sent to prison, and the officers and soldiers had investigated the beautiful Immortal Academy. If she hadn't harmed Princess Jingshan, she might have been sent to prison. The beautiful Immortal Academy had been closed. A few days ago, these girls were still talking about going to other brothels. She also showed off to these girls that several brothels' mothers had come to find her. After all, she was really talented and beautiful, not those girls who only attracted elegant guests with their talents. And those who learned some skills from Tanggua turned out to be virtuous. Some brothels' mothers came to find them, but they said that they would only receive elegant guests in the future and would not sell their bodies. Naturally, they didn't reach an agreement. She also laughed at them in her heart. Who knew that they would turn around and enter Princess Jingshan's mansion and completely get rid of their identity as brothels women? Ying was annoyed, regretful, and a little unwilling. She was obviously more outstanding than them. Why was her fate not as good as theirs? She promised the brothels' mothers in the capital with the same name as the beautiful Immortal Academy that she would go to that place 3 days later. The contract had been signed, so she couldn't go back on her word. Tanggua was busy. Because those girls were all novices, she asked the emperor for help, hoping that Wei Sun could arrange some people to help her. She bluntly said that she valued the ability of eunuch Wei. The emperor didn't mind and praised her for her excellent vision. Wei Sun was more willing to help Tanggua. He had long expected that as soon as Princess Jingshan came out, there would be a big matter. No, it had already begun. As for the people who harmed Princess Jingshan, they would not be dealt with so quickly. After all, it involved a lot of people. Every detail could not be missed. Confiscating property and killing people was not something that could be done as and when one said so. There was no need to talk about any evidence. The evidence that Wei Sun had provided was very sufficient, and those people basically couldn't overturn the case. I heard that my biological mother went to the palace to plead with my uncle again, hoping to let Meng Shireen off. Tanggua and Wei Sun sat opposite each other and played chess. Wei Sun had the identity of a eunuch. He often came to Tanggua's place, and it was through the open road. No one could say anything. They would only sigh that this princess of Mount Jing was really favored. Does the princess mind? I don't care. The corners of Wei Sun's lips curled up as he placed down a piece. Since you don't care, why bother with such trivial matters? The evidence is as solid as a mountain. Princess Yunjin can't change anything. His Majesty is not an incapable ruler. This matter could be blown out of proportion because the emperor allowed it. Naturally, he did not want to let these people off. I'm not bothered, but she repeatedly begged my uncle. I'm afraid she will come to me in 2 days. Wei Sun frowned. This is possible. In terms of identity, the princess can't avoid her. In fact, the princess can find an opportunity to go out and hide first. I'm not hiding. I'm not afraid of her annoying. I'm just thinking about what I should do if she comes to plead. Intuition told Wei Sun that Princess Jingshan was going to make trouble again. He felt that the return of Princess Jingshan was really a very good thing. Before the two finished playing a game, someone came to report that Princess Yunjin had come. Almost 3 days had passed, and it was the first time that Princess Yunjin took the initiative to see Tanggua. It could be seen that she didn't care about Tanggua, her biological daughter. Tanggua went to greet Princess Yunjin. Her expression was faint and unfamiliar. Why is mother here? The summit. Chapter 43-62. Mount Jing. Princess Yunjin was actually a bit embarrassed in her heart. She thought that her daughter was not considerate at all. She was not like her daughter at all. How could she be as considerate as Shireen? Except for occasionally going to greet her as usual, she didn't see her at all. She didn't even have a chance to speak. Which girl didn't talk to her mother from time to time? Her daughter was really not as good as Shireen. Shireen would bring anything interesting to her. This daughter grew up outside. She had a wild temperament and stayed in that kind of filthy place. She liked to show her face outside all day. She heard that there would often be some scholars coming to visit. Mount Jing was a girl. How could she receive guests like this boy? This was too outrageous. She didn't know what the emperor was thinking. He didn't care and followed her to the wilderness. Princess Yunjin complained in her heart, but because she had something to ask Tang Guo for help, she couldn't say much. Mother, it's rare for you to come today. I have already ordered the kitchen to prepare lunch. Tang Guo pretended not to see the other party's intention. Anyway, she was not in a hurry. Only her biological mother was anxious. Princess Yunjin was not in the mood to eat lunch, but it was easy to talk at the table, so she didn't say much and just nodded. She pulled Tang Guo and talked about all kinds of things. This was the most they talked since they met. Since you went missing, I couldn't sleep day and night. I couldn't find your whereabouts, but I still had some hope in my heart. A few years ago, someone found the jade pendant on Shireen's body. I was really happy. Princess Yunjin wiped her tears as she spoke. I thought I would never see you again in this life. I didn't expect things to turn around. Since Shireen came to my side, I felt relieved. I slept well at night and my appetite was much better. Shireen is still a considerate person. Princess Yunjin continued to praise Meng Shireen. I thought that was it, but who would have thought that it was all a misunderstanding? Shireen was framed by someone who thought that the jade pendant was related to her birth, so I thought she was my daughter. Now that you came back intact, Mount Jing, my heart was relieved. It's a pity that Shireen was innocent, but she was implicated like this. I haven't had a good night's sleep since she was sent to prison. Elder Princess Yunjin's eyes were red and she looked helpless. Unfortunately, your uncle insisted that Shireen had committed the crime of deceiving the emperor and mixing up the royal bloodline. He must punish her. Mount Jing, Shireen didn't know. Do you also think that she is innocent? This matter is so coincidental. Shireen was also picked up by the Meng family. Didn't they just bump into each other and misunderstand? Shireen is a kind child. If she knew that this was a misunderstanding, she would definitely deny it at that time. She would definitely not be greedy for glory and wealth. Tang Guo laughed in her heart. Wasn't he just trying to make her agree that Meng Shireen was innocent? Mother, mixing up the royal bloodline is a serious crime. Since uncle wants to punish him, there must be a reason for it. Does mother think that uncle is a wise ruler? Princess Yunjin felt stifled. Did she dare to say that the emperor was not a wise ruler? Her biological daughter was really not raised by her side. She didn't understand what she meant at all. Mother, you don't have to worry. Uncle attaches great importance to this matter. He won't let any guilty person go, nor will he wrongly accuse any innocent person. I believe that uncle will deal with this matter impartially. He will give me an explanation and give others a result. The Summit. Chapter 43-63. As for the Meng family, I'm not sure about this matter, but Shireen must be innocent. Eldest Princess Yunjin listened to Tang Guo's words and didn't give up. She still wanted to fight for it. Jing Shan, mother asks you to do me a favor. Go to your uncle and plead for Shireen. I don't care about the Meng family. I don't know if they have any thoughts or if they have a rough guess about this matter. Shireen, this child, is well-behaved, sensible, and kind. I can't bear to implicate her. Tang Guo picked up the teacup and slowly took a sip of tea. She was not in a hurry to answer eldest Princess Yunjin's words. She felt that this person was so shameless. She could even say such words. She really wanted to ask, did the other party have a heart? As long as they had a little conscience, they wouldn't say such words. Asking her, the victim, to plead for an impostor. Eldest Princess Yunjin's brain must have been kicked by a donkey to think of this. Jingshan, mother believes that you are a kind child. Otherwise, you would not consider those women who were deceived because of your own experience. Without waiting for eldest Princess Yunjin to finish speaking, Tangua interrupted, does mother still remember what happened to me? Since mother remembers what happened to me, why can you still say such words? Tangua asked, mother thinks that Meng Shireen, the impostor, is innocent. If she wasn't dying, I'm afraid you can't remember what happened to me, right? Shireen doesn't know. Eldest Princess Yunjin said with annoyance. Mother, are you really my biological mother? If I didn't have some skills, would I be able to come out of that place unscathed? During this time, I found many women who had the same experience as me. They were not as lucky as me. They lived a miserable life. If you want to talk about fault, it should be Lu Yu's fault. There is also Lu Darren's fault. Shireen was implicated. No wonder she. Eldest Princess Yunjin said stubbornly, you didn't come out unscathed. Now you have been granted the title of Princess Jingshan by the Emperor. You can choose your own marriage, have an independent princess mansion, and have a special power. This is a blessing in disguise. If you hadn't gone through this, how could you have obtained all these? System, dear host, I can't take it anymore. I'm so angry that I want to pull out a 2-meter-long broadsword and chop someone. What kind of person was this? How could they compare like that? The only reason he was able to come out safely was because this person was his great host. If it was any other woman who fell into that place, would it be as easy as this? Host, you have a thick stack of documents in your hands. It's all about the bloody cases of those innocent women. Every single one of them has a shocking experience. Eldest Princess Yunjin, she didn't have a heart. Mount Jing, just say something. Do you want to plead for Shireen? Mother doesn't have any other requests for you. I just hope that you can help Shireen. Tangua gave a sarcastic smile. She raised her head and looked into Princess Yunjin's eyes. Where does Princess Yunjin's face come from? You want me to plead for Meng Shireen? I've already given her a lot of face by not killing her and waiting for uncle to deal with her. Eldest Princess Yunjin, please go back. I'm afraid you don't want to eat lunch here. You unfilial daughter, you dare to contradict me. Princess Yunjin was stunned by Tangua's sudden change in attitude. Then, she stood up angrily and angrily said, you have such a naughty temper, and you dare to talk back to me? Did you not learn the rules outside the summit? Chapter 43-64. Eldest Princess Yunjin thinks that my experience is nothing and is not as pitiful as Meng Shireen, right? Tangua also stood up. Actually, it is not impossible for me to plead for Meng Shireen, as long as you can agree to one condition. What condition? Seeing Tangua relent, Eldest Princess Yunjin suppressed the anger in her heart. Tangua faintly said, you, or Meng Shireen, personally go to the brothel and experience what you should experience, and you have to tell everyone about it. If one of you can do it, it means that my experience is nothing and I will plead for Meng Shireen. You. How can you be like this? Eldest Princess Yunjin was so angry that her face turned ferocious. How can you say such a thing? Is that a place you can casually go to? After saying this, she consciously closed her mouth, as if she had said something she shouldn't have. Oh, Eldest Princess Yunjin also understands that a pure girl can't casually go to that place. Then why do you want to plead for Meng Shireen? What virtue does she have? How big is your face? If you can't bear it, why do you think that I can just go there and pretend that nothing happened? Come, send the guest out. Eldest Princess Yunjin angrily stomped her feet and finally said, are you still my daughter? I also want to ask, are you my biological mother? You don't plan for me, but you deal with a person who replaced me and want me to plead for her. Eldest Princess Yunjin, you are not worthy of being my mother. Eldest Princess Yunjin angrily left, calling her unfilial daughter. When she went back, she told Meng Shirin's admirers that her daughter was unforgiving. She insisted on killing Meng Shirin and even talked back to her biological mother. She was Tangua's biological mother. When these words came out of her mouth, it was easy for people to believe. Not long after, there were rumors in the capital that Princess Jing Shan was unfilial, talked back to her biological mother, and was unruly and willful. But there were no rumors that this matter was related to Meng Shirin. Tangua understood that the person who spread the rumors wanted to discredit her. Then she would find a way to plead for Meng Shirin. With her here, could the other side do as they wished? Eunuch Wei, I'll have to trouble you with this matter. Tangua looked at Wei Sun with a smile. Wei Sun recalled what Tangua had instructed him to do and felt a chill run down his spine. Princess, are you sure? I'm sure. I can't afford to have such a mother. All right then, I will definitely help the princess with this matter. I believe you. Tangua's eyes were serious, and the certainty in her eyes made Wei Sun stunned. I won't disappoint the princess. Eunuch Wei has never disappointed me. Wei Sun couldn't take it anymore and quickly left. He always felt that this Princess Jing Shan was very strange. The way she looked at him was super strange. It was impossible for anyone to know his secret, otherwise, they would think that he had been seen through by the other party. This feeling was really not too good. He didn't feel this way even when facing the emperor. He seemed to have underestimated this Princess Jing Shan. The other party had courage, wisdom, and means. She was not a soft-hearted person. If this continued, he felt that few people were her opponents. So, in the end, would he be controlled by the other party? However, if Princess Jing Shan could help him overthrow the Empress, it was worth it to be controlled. Wei Sun, who had figured it out, his heavy footsteps became a little lighter. He had forgotten that the Wei Sun of the past didn't like to be seen through or even controlled by others. Even the Emperor only knew one side of him. The Summit. Chapter 4365. I heard that Princess Yunjin asked Princess Jingshan to plead for Meng Shirin. Who is Meng Shirin? Plead for what? Meng Shirin is the merchant's daughter, the one who pretended to be Princess Jingshan. Then why did Princess Yunjin ask Princess Jingshan to plead for Meng Shirin? Where did you hear it? Is it a rumor? This is not a trivial matter. Yes, Princess Yunjin is the biological mother of Princess Jingshan. How can she let her own daughter plead for an impostor? It's true. I have a distant relative's relative who works in Princess Jingshan's mansion. That day, Princess Yunjin went to find Princess Jingshan. My distant relative's relative happened to hear it by accident. Everyone in the princess mansion knows about this. They all feel wronged for Princess Jingshan. Princess Yunjin is crazy. Meng Shirin is an impostor. Whether she knows it or not, she is an impostor. Even if she is wronged, she shouldn't let Princess Jingshan plead for her. Isn't this stabbing a knife into Princess Jingshan's heart? Wasn't there a rumor before that Princess Jingshan was unfilial and stubborn? She even contradicted Princess Yunjin. Although many people refuted for Princess Jingshan, many people felt that contradicting her biological mother was unreasonable. But when these two things are combined, isn't the matter clear? Such dialogue could be seen everywhere in the capital. Now everyone was not talking about Princess Jingshan contradicting her biological mother, but the biological mother actually wanted Princess Jingshan to plead for the impostor. This was ridiculous. Many people didn't understand how Princess Yunjin came up with this rotten idea. Those scholars who supported Tangua suddenly had a flood of ideas when they heard this news. Previously, many people said that Princess Jingshan was wrong. When it came to filial piety, they were still aggrieved and didn't know how to explain it. The Princess Jingshan they knew was definitely not someone who would contradict her biological mother for no reason. Sure enough, there was such a thing behind it. Therefore, they wanted to write articles to scold Princess Yunjin, who couldn't distinguish right from wrong, was vicious, and stabbed a knife into Princess Jingshan's heart. In less than half a day, the entire capital city was cursing eldest Princess Yunjin. Even the child in the corner was singing a new nursery rhyme. It was catchy and could be sung after listening to it twice. At first, Meng Shirin's admirers were still feeling smug. The one who was the most angry was Princess Yunjin. Even through the walls of the princess palace, she could hear those ugly songs being sung outside. She quickly ordered people to chase away those children who were singing. The children scattered while shouting, "Eldest Princess Yunjin is bullying a child." This scene made Princess Yunjin so angry that her head hurt. She blamed everything on Tanghua. If it weren't for her unfilial daughter, how could she have encountered all these? Everyone was talking about this matter. Although they didn't dare to say it in front of her, she couldn't do anything. At this time, if she dared to be a bit fierce, the citizens of the capital would write a blood letter saying that she was using her status as the eldest princess to bully the common people. On the other hand, Tang Guo was very comfortable. She also took a carriage and wandered around the capital. When she heard the catchy nursery rhyme, she almost laughed out loud. Wei Sun sat on the side and felt that Princess Jingshan was a bit abnormal. It might be related to her experience. He didn't expect that someone was crazier than him, and it was a princess. The summit. Chapter 43-66. Tangua's matter was once again spread far and wide. This time, including her experience and the indifference of her biological mother, everything was summed up and publicized. At first, Wei Sun pushed the rumor, but later, these were spontaneously organized by those scholars. They decided to use sharp words to scold this royal princess who was not clear-headed. In less than 2 days, these scholars made trouble again. They asked the emperor to give Princess Jingshan an explanation. A royal princess was framed and fell into a brothel. Now, she suffered such grievances. The matter must be investigated clearly. Seeing that things were fermenting like this, Princess Yunjin knew that she couldn't take the path of Tanghua. She gave up with hatred. She had no extra thoughts about her daughter. She gathered Meng Shirin's admirers to discuss how to help Meng Shirin get rid of the crime. They all felt that even if the Meng family was not innocent, Meng Shirin must be innocent. In the end, Crown Prince Tang Wenpan came up with a way to save Meng Shirin's life. There was conclusive evidence that Master Meng knew that Meng Shirin couldn't be of royal blood. But whether Meng Shirin knew or not, the evidence was not so good. She did know, but there was no evidence that she knew, unless Master Meng admitted it himself. If Meng Shirin said that she didn't know, they would definitely believe that she didn't know. In their minds, Meng Shirin was a kind and lively girl. They planned to use this to help Meng Shirin get rid of the crime. As long as they could prove that Meng Shirin really didn't know, her head would be saved. Tang Wenpan secretly went to see Master Meng. He was also helpless in the current situation. To save the Meng family and Meng Shirin, Master Meng had to sacrifice himself. I was really obsessed with this matter. The rest of the Meng family, including Shirin, didn't know. Master Meng felt Tang Wenpan's intention and said his decision. In fact, when he was sent to prison, he thought of many ways. He had been waiting to see how the situation was. Now, only by sacrificing himself could he save the Meng family and Meng Shirin. In fact, the rest of the Meng family really didn't know. Only his 2 confidants and Meng Shirin knew about this matter. Seeing that the Crown Prince valued Meng Shirin so much, he understood that no matter what, he couldn't give up Meng Shireen for the sake of the Meng family. Otherwise, his entire Meng family would be finished. If he could protect Meng Shireen, then the Meng family would have the crown prince to take care of them in the future. In the future, when the crown prince inherited the throne, Shireen would at least be a concubine. Given how infatuated the crown prince was, he would definitely take care of the matter of her identity. When the crown prince saw how straightforward old Master Meng was, he understood that the matter was settled. Because old Master Meng insisted that he was possessed. When he found out that Meng Shireen was recognized as the princess of the imperial family, he knew that Meng Shireen was not the princess of the imperial family. Yet, for the sake of glory and wealth, he had deliberately concealed this matter. He also said that when he found Meng Shireen, his two confidants had been interrogated by Wei Sun, and their testimonies were consistent with his. From the beginning to the end, there was no evidence that Meng Shireen knew that she was not the real princess. Since the Meng clan and Meng Shireen were unaware of the matter, the emperor couldn't just vent his anger and kill all of them. The emperor sentenced old Master Meng to be beheaded in public, stripped of the Meng family's title of imperial merchant, fined them silver, and banished the Meng family from the capital, never to return. Naturally, Meng Shireen was also banished from the capital and was not allowed to enter the capital again. This punishment was already very benevolent, but Princess Yunjin was furious. No matter how she pleaded, there was no way to make the emperor agree to let Meng Shireen stay. Because Lord Liu had committed many crimes, many people in the Liu family had done a lot of bad things with his power. Therefore, the Liu family was confiscated and the whole family was executed. Liu Yu, the culprit, was also sentenced to be beheaded. Before the execution, she had to be paraded through the streets for 3 days. At this time, Meng Shireen disguised her face and hid in the crowd. She watched old Master Meng and Liu Yu being sent to the execution ground together with red eyes. Tang Guo was very satisfied with this result. She didn't mind that Meng Shireen could still be alive. Actually, I have a way to find out if Meng Shireen knew about this matter. The princess seems to have other plans. Wei Sun said. They were now sitting on the second floor of a tea house, just looking at the prison carriage that was passing by. Tang Guo withdrew her gaze. It's too easy to kill her. Living is the most painful thing. If she didn't keep Meng Shireen, how could she torment her admirers? If those admirers didn't come to court death, how could she find an excuse to kill them all? I seem to have boarded the princess's pirate ship. Wei Sun couldn't help but shake his head. He felt more and more that he suffered a loss in this matter. He thought he was the strategist, but he didn't expect to become the errand boy of the princess of Mount Jing. Does eunuch Wei want to get off the ship? Tang Guo asked in a low voice. Wei Sun took a sip of tea. I don't dare to go down. There is water all around. I will drown. Tang Guo was amused. The summit. Chapter 4367. Both Liu Yu and Master Meng were beheaded. Meng Shireen hid in the crowd and secretly watched. If it weren't for her admirers who stopped her, she might not have been able to control herself and would have rushed out to kidnap them. After the death of Master Meng, the rest of the Meng family left dejectedly. They couldn't believe that they could escape this time. When they were about to go, Meng Shireen didn't appear. The rest of the Meng family also planned to send people to find Meng Shireen, but they were stopped by Madame Meng. Mother, this matter really can't be blamed on Shireen. She was picked up by father when she was young. Previously, our Meng family was in trouble. If Shireen didn't suddenly become a princess, our Meng family might have been gone long ago. Yes, mother, it's better to send someone to find Shireen. The emperor's imperial edict is to let us leave within half a month. There are still some days before half a month. Several brothers and sisters-in-law of the Meng family also spoke. Shireen has a good relationship with the crown prince. She even knows a lot of the young masters of those aristocratic families. I think our Meng family still has to rely on her in the future. Mother, husband and uncles are right. Shireen really can't be blamed for that matter. No matter what, let's ask her to go with us. Stupid. At this time, it's already good to save the Meng family. Fortunately, the emperor is a wise ruler. He didn't vent his anger on the people of our Meng family who didn't know about it. He only gave another punishment. Madame Meng scolded. How am I blaming her? That girl is very capable. She didn't even say anything about leaving. Most likely, she went out. It's useless to send someone to look for her. Madame Meng sighed in her heart. This blessing was picked up after all. No one knew whether it would be a blessing or a disaster in the end. Previously, when the Meng family was imprisoned, she was ready to behead the Meng family. The Meng family committed a big taboo. Princess Jingshan was very capable. As long as she was willing, no one in the Meng family could escape. But in the end, why was the Meng family saved? Only Master Meng, who took all the blame, was beheaded. Most likely, Princess Jingshan didn't want to pursue the Meng family. If she wanted to, the emperor would not think of a way for her. The famous Wei Sun also arranged people to investigate the Meng family. He could easily find some reasons to deal with it. Ai Wei, Princess Jingshan did not implicate the rest of the Meng family, but she could not guarantee that the other party did not have any thoughts on Meng Shireen. Princess Yunjin also didn't know what was going on. She actually got close to the fake Meng Shireen and alienated Princess Jingshan. The crown princes and princes were also close to Meng Shireen. On the surface, it looked like a good thing, but Madame Meng felt that this matter was not simple. Princess Jingshan was the person that those scholars wanted to support. Moreover, during this period of time, many women who had been deceived and wandered into prostitution were rescued by her. She was afraid that these women would have nowhere to go, so she set up a dye house. Only then would these women have a place to work and support themselves. How could Meng Shireen compare to such a person? The crown prince, the princes, and the young masters of aristocratic families, all of these people with extraordinary statuses were close to Meng Shireen. What would the royal family think? Lady Meng felt that something would happen sooner or later. Since Meng Shireen didn't come back to greet them, the Meng family shouldn't expect Meng Shireen to bring them any glory in the future. After this incident, the safety of the Meng family was the most important thing. Whether it was power or not, she was already indifferent to it. It was also her master who was too persistent. If she really expected Meng Shireen to make a comeback, then she would be out of her mind and bring disaster to the entire Meng family. Vertex. Chapter 43-68. Under Madame Meng's scolding, the rest of the Meng family didn't dare to say anything more. Madame Meng saw that they were still a little unwilling and said, "After this, you still can't get over it. Glory, wealth, and supreme power, you need to be alive to take it. Facts have proven that things will go in the opposite direction when they reach an extreme. Our Meng family has been smooth sailing these years, but we've been a little too sharp. The capital has no fate with the Meng family. Don't think about it. Whoever wants to rely on Shireen will be expelled from the Meng family." Hearing Madame Meng being so serious, the Meng family's younger ones didn't have any ideas. If Shireen will return to the Meng family in the future, we will accept her. If she wants us to do anything else, we won't allow it, especially when it comes to the capital. She is already the princess of Mount Jing. Do you understand? Madame Meng said earnestly, "This is a place of trouble. The princess of Mount Jing is not simple. You just wait and see. It won't be that simple. The Meng family left a letter for Meng Shireen. They didn't know if the other party could see it. Meng Shireen was still sad. In her mind, the person closest to the Meng family was Master Meng. When she was a child, she could feel that Madame Meng didn't like her. She didn't know if it was Master Meng who ordered the Meng family to shut up. No one mentioned that she was picked up. When the jade pendant incident broke out last time, she knew that she didn't have the Meng family's bloodline. She also understood why Madame Meng wasn't close to her. Now that Master Meng was gone, for Meng Shireen, the Meng family naturally had nothing to do with her. How could she leave the capital? Fortunately, someone helped her, so she could secretly stay in the capital. There were people she liked, her friends, and her enemies here. The fire was extinguished. However, there was one thing that Meng Shireen couldn't believe. Princess Yunjin actually came to see her and gave her a lot of silver, saying that she was innocent in this matter and was implicated. The two people who weren't related by blood got along like a real mother and daughter. The two hugged and cried for a while. Princess Yunjin just let her stay in the capital with peace of mind. With her here, she would take care of her. When there was a chance in the future, she would plead with the emperor. After this time, Princess Yunjin often came to see Meng Shireen, as if she really treated her as her own daughter. On the other hand, Tang Gua and Gu Nianji had never contacted each other on their own since they had a falling out. The two of them would only meet at banquets and gatherings that they had no choice but to attend. However, they didn't greet each other when they met. Princess Royal Yunjin tried to win over the womenfolk. It seemed that she wanted to isolate Tang Gua. He didn't expect that at these gatherings, the people who were close to Tang Guo were the scholars and the young masters of aristocratic families. Of course, these young masters were the ones who liked Meng Shireen. They wanted to get close to Tang Guo for two reasons. First, they admired her talent. It was a rare opportunity for them to learn from each other at the banquet. They had never thought about that. As for the second, it was the recent movements made by Princess Jingshan, which made some of the scholars with a rotten aura shocked and admired her very much. Why would he admire him? Because there were often cases of child abduction in the capital, Tang Gua had to deal with the human traffickers while rescuing those girls who had been abducted into prostitution. In the capital, there were so many scholars, rich families, and young masters of aristocratic families. It was inevitable that there would be cases of children being abducted after they got lost. Tang Gua helped them find their children by accident. How could they not be close? The summit. Chapter 43-69. As for the matter of rectifying the human traffickers, Tang Gua had considered it. Because she only saved those women who were abducted into prostitution, it was not enough for the world to remember her. If she rectified those people who abducted children, then there would be more people who would remember her and support her. She had the system, the paper puppet, and Wei Sun, this sharp knife, so it was very easy for her to do these things. Now, if a family in the capital had a lost child and asked Princess Jingshan for help, the child could be found quickly, which was much more useful than reporting to the officials. Eldest Princess Yunjin was prejudiced in her heart, so how could she see this? On the contrary, she was very angry that those womenfolk were slowly getting close to Tang Gua. According to her thoughts, Tang Gua had been in that kind of place, so these womenfolk should be unwilling to be associated with her. Now, they were all smiling like flowers and acting particularly close. She didn't know why. Even if there were rumors that some of these womenfolk had lost their children, in the end, it was Tang Gua who arranged for people to help find them. Eldest Princess Yunjin didn't think it was a skill. In her opinion, as long as she arranged more people, or arranged Wei Sun to be with her, she would be able to command them and find the children. It was a simple matter. In fact, as time passed, more and more people got close to Tang Gua. Many courtiers urged their womenfolk to be close to Princess Jingshan. Don't be led by the nose by eldest Princess Yunjin and offend Princess Jingshan. The emperor had changed several laws in the current dynasty several times. These laws were related to Princess Jingshan. They were not designed to affect their interests. Instead, they were beneficial. At least, they were no longer afraid that the children at home would get lost while playing. These days, Tang Guo rescued many women who were abducted into prostitution from the brothel. According to the current situation, even if some people pitied their experience at first and sympathized with them, few people were willing to be responsible for their lives. Most of them were injured. They might not have children in this life. It was almost impossible to find a good man. Even if Tang Guo helped them recuperate, with their status, their lives might not be as comfortable as living in the brothel. Most of them couldn't raise their heads in the face of the surrounding people pointing at them. Over time, the husband's family, who originally took pity on them, would also despise them. Besides, very few people would take a woman of such status as their official wife. For those who couldn't find a wife, they couldn't let them use their own money just to let them get married, right? That didn't make sense, so she didn't intend to help them recuperate. She taught them the 4 arts of zither, chess, calligraphy, and painting. She taught them the skills to support themselves and also taught them martial arts to protect themselves. With Tang Guo's help, they learned very quickly. In just 1 or 2 years, he had already achieved some results. He could be considered a junior expert, and he would have no problem protecting himself. Unknowingly, she had stopped asking Wei Sun for help. The people around her had been replaced by these women, and she had established the first female guard in Baiguang country. He didn't know if these women had become ambitious, but some of them even had thoughts of joining the army. Tang Guo was silent at that time. She did not expect them to have such great ambitions. She didn't think there was anything wrong with joining the army, but there was no precedent in Baiguang Kingdom. She didn't know if her uncle, the emperor, would agree. After all, this was a shocking thing. Vertex. Chapter 43-70. I'll help you ask. Lon Lon was also one of them who planned to join the army. If it doesn't work, then forget it. We are very satisfied with the current situation. Princess, don't be embarrassed by this. We just feel that Princess has taught us countless musical instruments, chess, calligraphy, painting, martial arts, and let us read books. There are also military strategies in them. In that case, why don't we make use of these and do something to win glory for us women? Yes, after following Princess for so many years, I also understand that as women, we really don't have to marry. Now we are living a carefree life, faster than marriage. We live a lot, Red Bean said. Princess has fought for our current status, but I feel that it's not enough. If women can also join the army to protect our Baiguang country, then the world will be shocked and will have a different view of us, right? Although there were no female soldiers in Baiguang country, there were many female soldiers and generals in the dynasties before Baiguang country. This matter was actually not too shocking. It was just caused by the environment, and women basically did not have the opportunity. Tang Guo entered the palace and talked to the emperor about this matter. In addition, she was also wondering if she could use this matter to teach the empress, who had been playing tricks on the side. Empress Dowager Qin had been complaining to her in the group recently, saying that lying down every day made her bones loose. She could only secretly walk around the house at night. Tang Guo often went to see Empress Dowager Qin, but unfortunately, they could only talk briefly when they met. Wei Sun arranged people to go to the border to find evidence, but there was still no progress. It had been a long time, and it was not easy to get sufficient evidence. When the emperor heard Tang Guo's words, he was also very shocked. Those little women, how could they have such ambitions in the future? Uncle, in fact, they are very intelligent. If they were not unfortunate enough to fall into the dust, they would definitely be peerless people. Now they are proficient in musical instruments, chess, calligraphy, and painting, and they also know martial arts. They have also read a lot of military strategies. The emperor was silent for a while. It seems that you agree. You must know that swords and knives have no eyes on the battlefield. The days in the military camp are not as comfortable as now. Not everyone can bear this suffering. This is what they want to do. They've learned so many skills, but they can't find a place to use them. They can't just help people find children, right? The emperor also didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He also heard that in the past 2 years, anyone who lost a child in the capital would first go to find Princess Jingshan, and then they would think of reporting to the officials. However, when she reported it to the authorities, the child had already been found. His niece wasn't simple at all. Ever since she appeared, she had really helped him solve a lot of problems. At present, the capital city was peaceful, and there were very few cases of kidnapping and selling children. More and more women were being rescued. It could be said that Tangua's women were being rescued by Tangua everywhere. She had infiltrated every single place. 2 paper puppets disguised as women went in to help her manage the place. Of course, Tangua did these things in the open with the emperor first. The female guards under her actually had a name. They were called the Mount Tranquil Guards. As long as the Mount Tranquil Guards existed, the people understood that if a family lost a child or daughter, it was always right to find the Mount Tranquil Guards. Invisibly, the name of Princess Jingshan had been known and admired by the people of Baiguang country. She was also a woman, and she had always been doing things around more fierce abductions. Moreover, all her forces were on the surface, so the emperor was not afraid of her. On the contrary, every time she did something, she would make a few sighs. The summit. Chapter 43-71. I want to see them first and see if they are as good as you said. It's better to have a battle first. I will choose a soldier to compete with them. If they can win, I will allow them to join the army. The emperor was already used to it. Tangua kept bringing him new things. Every one of them was a good thing for the country and the people. He didn't know if she could give him a surprise this time. I will choose a 30-person elite soldier and give you a month to prepare. If these women could defeat the 30-person elite soldier, the public would be convinced. He would also invite the courtiers to watch together. Tangua agreed and turned back to train the people. Since they wanted to do these things, she could only give them enlightenment. Not only that, but she also had to mix in 2 paper puppets. Since she could cheat, why not use it? In the morning court, the courtiers heard the emperor talk about it. Not long after, the news that Princess Jingshan's Jingshan guards were going to fight with the elite soldiers personally selected by the emperor spread in the capital. Even the news that the women were going to join the army was spread out. The people who spread these news were naturally Crown Prince Shi's group. They now regarded Tangua, Princess Jingshan, as a wolf, a tiger, and a leopard. They were very fierce. In the past 2 years, Meng Shirin was also very aggrieved. She always felt that she couldn't move her hands and feet. Seeing that Tangua was getting more and more popular, she felt very uncomfortable in her heart. Even if Princess Yunjin Royal was very partial to her and often let people send her food. Many people in the capital heard that the women of the Jingshan guards were going to participate. They couldn't believe it. They thought it was a joke. Many people thought that Princess Jingshan was overestimating herself and were waiting to see a joke. When Wei Sun heard about this, he also hurried to the princess mansion. He said that he was a frequent visitor here. When the gatekeeper saw him, he was directly let in. As soon as he came in, he saw Tanguo giving advice on the art of war. He didn't disturb her but sat aside and watched. With this one look, he was addicted. How many skills did this Princess Jingshan have that he didn't know? Just being a woman, she had changed a lot of things. If she was a man, the pattern of the world would be changed. Tanguo let the Jingshan guards practice by themselves and sat next to Wei Sun. Eunuch Wei, you came early today. Princess, since you've made such a big commotion, it's impossible not to be early. Wei Sun wanted to persuade him, but after seeing the previous scene, he asked instead, how confident are you of winning? 100%. What I'm thinking about now is how to crush them. Wei Sun was amused. Princess Jingshan really doesn't give the emperor any face. Uncle is a wise ruler. He won't mind these things. Wei Sun took a sip of tea and said in a low voice, there's some progress on that matter. Now, we're just waiting to capture the person. When the time comes, we can lure the snake out of its hole. If the Mount Tranquil Guard can win and be sent to the border, we can start with this. Even now, the Empress has no intention of showing herself. Instead, she's avoiding me. She probably has someone guiding her. Until now, her Emperor uncle still thought that the Empress was a kind-hearted person. If the other party didn't make a move, he really couldn't do anything to her. Wei Sun's lips curled into a smile. The Empress will be very worried soon. Oh. What do you mean? Tanguo was busy with her own important matters. For the time being, she really didn't have time to pay attention to the Empress and Meng Shireen. The current Meng Shireen could probably still feel uncomfortable. Let's just wait for her to feel uncomfortable for a while. Anyway, with her here, her admirers would definitely cause trouble. The summit. Chapter 43-72. The Crown Prince will be 20 years old soon. The selection of the Crown Princess has been delayed for several years. Now it can't be avoided. It must be chosen. Tanguo understood that the Empress must have agreed to choose a Crown Princess for Tang Wenpan, but the Crown Prince was attached to Meng Shireen and was certainly unwilling. So, Meng Shireen also had a bad time recently. If Meng Shireen had a bad time, Princess Yunjin Royal would also have a bad time. And her admirers, they would also not have a good time. Has anyone chosen? The Empress has taken a fancy to the eldest daughter of the cabinet minister and the second daughter of the minister. They are all good candidates. They have all seen each other. The news that came out today is most likely the second daughter of the minister. She is not as sharp. Meng Shireen must have a quarrel. Tanguo said with a face full of certainty. Wei Sun almost spat out. He now suspected that the princess kept Meng Shireen. Was it just to see this? The Crown Prince most likely also quarreled with the Empress, right? Tanguo's face said that her guess was right, making Wei Sun speechless. The princess is really clever. Praise or exaggeration, who told this princess of Mount Jing, what else can he do? Meng Shireen's admirers must have quarreled with the Crown Prince, saying that since he can't give Meng Shireen an identity, he should let go, right? Wei Sun really choked this time. She could even guess this. Was the princess a roundworm? Eunuch Wei, look at my eyes, are you saying that I am a roundworm in your heart? Wei Sun was stiff. She could also guess this. Could the princess read minds? Eunuch Wei, now you must be very surprised. How do I know so much? Wei Sun. Sure enough, he boarded a pirate ship and automatically sent himself to her door to be used as a knife. Back to the topic, Eunuch Wei still has to arrange more people to keep an eye on the minister's daughter. I am afraid something will happen. Such a thing had not happened in the plot. The Crown Prince married Meng Shireen, and there was no torment in the memory. Neither the emperor or the empress thought that Meng Shirin could be the crown princess. At that time, they didn't fancy the second daughter of the minister, but the eldest daughter of the cabinet minister. That girl was also unlucky. After being chosen by the empress, she was complacently going to the temple to fulfill her vow. Who would have thought that she would be kidnapped by bandits halfway? She was only found after a day and a night. She did not lose her virginity, but after such a thing happened, her reputation was ruined and she could not become the crown princess. The mastermind behind this matter was the collaboration of several young masters who adored Meng Shirin. At that time, the original owner had paid special attention to this matter. Unfortunately, her halo wasn't enough. After investigating this matter, Tang Wenpan found out and destroyed the evidence first. In the end, the matter of the original owner's complaint became a joke. Because of this, she was scolded for being stupid and vicious. After Wei Sun Tangua said this, his expression became serious. What is Princess guessing? Those young masters who are close to Meng Shirin seem to have lost their minds. I'm afraid that the daughter of the minister will be implicated. It's not necessarily a good thing to have the crown prince involved. Among the young masters, there must be Tang Wenpan's people. Most of the people who did this kind of thing were related to Tang Wenpan. Since Princess values it so much, I have to arrange a few more people. Wei Sun's eyes flashed with excitement. He really hoped that these people could do something. In the last 1 or 2 years, it had been too peaceful. The empress was dormant, and the crown prince was restrained by the empress. He couldn't make big waves. Let's see what will happen in this crown princess selection. I'm going to the palace in a while to see the empress dowager. Eunuch Wei, you can go to work first. Wei Sun, so, it's used and then thrown away. Very good. 2 hours later, Tangua came to Empress Dowager Chen's bedroom and drove everyone out. Chen Taihua sat up happily and pinched the sore places on his body. Hey, school beauty, when can I go down for a walk? The Empress is too smart. She hasn't made any trouble. Isn't she looking for an opportunity? She has always been a shrewd person. If you can't kill her once, it will be hard to find another opportunity. Forget it, I'd better lie down. Empress Dowager Qin knew that Tangua had brought the array disc. She was not afraid of being discovered. She walked around the room twice. Hurry up and take out the cards. While there is time, we can play a few rounds. Hey, I don't know when I can summon those women into the palace to play cards. Tangua, you are the Empress Dowager. Be careful. The Peak. Chapter 43-73. Princess Jing Shan went to see the Empress Dowager again. The Empress leaned on the soft cushion, her face was not very good. When I recognized Meng Shirin before, I didn't see any good expression on the Empress Dowager's face. Is this the difference between a fake and a real one? Is Nyang worried about Princess Jing Shan getting close to the Empress Dowager? The old mama asked in a low voice. The Empress shook her head. No, what can a living dead person who can't move do? Princess Jing Shan and I are not close, but there is no conflict. The only bad thing is that she is too much in the limelight. I have mentioned it twice in front of the Emperor. She is a royal princess, a golden branch and jade leaf. Isn't it not good to show her face in public all day long? The Emperor said that Princess Jing Shan is different from other princesses. The old mama shook her head disapprovingly. Nyang shouldn't say this. Now is the time when Princess Jing Shan is favored. In the eyes of the Emperor, she is the best. Nyang, don't forget that everything Princess Jing Shan does is acquiesced by the Emperor. To be precise, what she wants to do is also what the Emperor wants to do. Forget it, let's ignore her for the time being. I have no conflict with her. It's easy to do something that is thankless. The Empress's face suddenly sank. As long as she doesn't know about those two things. It has been many years since Princess Yunjin encountered an assassin. There are no traces. Nyang Nyang doesn't have to worry. As for the matter of the real and fake princess, Nyang Nyang didn't do anything. The Empress smiled with satisfaction. That's right, I really didn't do anything. That Meng Shireen is troublesome. The Empress rubbed her eyebrows. If she had known that Meng Shireen was difficult to deal with and that she was a vixen who charmed her son, she would have exposed this matter from the beginning. Speaking of which, she did not gain any benefits from Meng Shireen pretending to be a princess. The Crown Prince is now at odds with me all day long. He refuses to marry the Crown Princess obediently. He also said that he only has Meng Shireen in his heart. Granny, what do you think we should do about this matter? Although the Emperor decreed the marriage, the Crown Prince has to marry even if he doesn't want to. I am afraid that the Crown Prince will be estranged from me. If I do something at that time, it will make the Emperor unhappy. The position of the Crown Prince seemed to be very stable, but he didn't really sit on that chair. Everything was unknown. No one knew what would happen. Your Highness wants to get rid of Meng Shireen. This is not an easy thing to do. Once we do it, the Crown Prince will probably guess it. At that time, our relationship as mother and son will be ruined because of a vixen. Wouldn't that be a great loss? If Meng Shireen could be killed, she would have done it long ago. There was no need to stir up more trouble for a vixen. It would be best if they had other ideas. If you want to kill Meng Shireen, there is another way. The old nanny's small eyes on her wrinkled face glinted. As long as we drive a wedge between Meng Shireen and His Highness the Crown Prince, it will be easy to make His Highness the Crown Prince willingly marry the Crown Princess. Then how do we sow discord? The Empress fell into deep thought. She was obviously interested in this method. The old mama's eyes narrowed into slits as she leaned close to the Empress and whispered, as far as this old servant knows, Meng Shireen has an unclear relationship with the Imperial Prince and the young masters of the noble families. We only need to use them to drive a wedge between His Highness and the Crown Prince. Wasn't Your Highness worried that the third prince and the fifth prince would outshine the Crown Prince? This is a good way to suppress them. It will also make the Crown Prince understand that there are no brothers in the imperial family. The Peak. Chapter 43-74. The Empress agreed with the old mama's statement and decided to teach Tang Wenpan a lesson. He wanted to see how his younger brothers stole his woman. A woman who could easily have an affair with other men, presumably, the Crown Prince would understand how to choose, right? She left this matter to the old mama. She didn't care about the process, she only needed the final result to be what she wanted. The matter of the Crown Prince selecting a Crown Princess was settled. It was personally decreed by the Emperor. It was the daughter of the minister. At this time, many people gathered in the house where Meng Shireen lived, including the Crown Prince Tang Wenpan and Princess Yunjin Royal. Meng Shireen's face was pale. She was listening to Tang Wenpan's explanation. After listening, she said, "Are you going to disobey the imperial edict? Do you dare?" The third prince chimed in, "Crown Prince, do you dare? You are the Crown Prince. Everyone is watching you. Do you dare to disobey the imperial edict, oppose this marriage, and marry Shireen? If you don't dare, why give Shireen hope again and again? If His Royal Highness the Crown Prince can't protect Shireen and give her an identity, then don't delay her anymore. He is the Crown Prince. How dare he not marry her? If he doesn't marry her, maybe he can't keep his position as the Crown Prince." Princess Yunjin Royal certainly hoped that Meng Shirin could be with the crown prince, but in this regard, she had no right to speak at all. Meng Shirin could only secretly hide in the house now. She didn't dare to let the emperor know that she was still in the capital. If it was known, then no one here could escape. They all committed the crime of deceiving the emperor. Shirin, listen to me. I will not marry the daughter of the minister. I only have you in my heart. Tang Wenpan's words were somewhat pale and powerless. After all, the imperial edict had been issued. Could he still resist it? Meng Shirin was very tired in the past 2 years. She didn't know how things became like this. 20 She complained about Lu Yu in her heart. If the other party didn't inexplicably give her a jade pendant, would she have such a bumpy experience? Shirin, believe me, I will give you an explanation. Tang Wenpan reiterated again, I will not marry the daughter of the minister. Meng Shirin hesitated. In her heart, she wanted to fight. It was best to stand in a high position so that she would no longer have to be afraid of Princess Jingshan. To have a higher status than Princess Jingshan, she was undoubtedly the empress. Every time she heard what happened to Princess Jingshan, it made her feel very uncomfortable. The only thing that comforted her was that eldest Princess Yunzhen was on her side. This was the only thing she could compare to the other party. I won't be a concubine. Meng Shirin looked at Tang Wenpan and said, if you want to be with me, then you have to marry me. Otherwise, I'd rather not be with you. Originally, Tang Wenpan was still thinking about making Meng Shirin his concubine. Meng Shirin's words dispelled that thought in his heart. Everyone's mood wasn't too good when they left the gathering. Meng Shirin's admirers really couldn't bear to see her sad, so they secretly planned to think of a way to help her. Tang Wenpan didn't know why, but he just couldn't let go of Meng Shirin. If Meng Shirin didn't want to be his concubine, what was he going to do? It would be great if he was the emperor. He could marry whoever he wanted. How could he not be able to decide his own marriage? At this moment, Tang Wenpan's ambition was growing. Later, this group of people gathered a few more times. Vertex. Chapter 4375. During their conversation, Tang Wenpan inadvertently revealed that if the daughter of the Shangshu mansion had an accident and could not carry out the wedding as scheduled, perhaps the wedding could be delayed to give them enough time. The speaker had no intention, but the listener had a heart. A few days later, the daughter of the Shangshu mansion went out to the temple to burn incense and encountered a group of robbers. Tang Guo learned the news in advance. She just happened to be training the Mount Jing guards under her. When she heard someone calling for help, she rushed out with people, rescued the daughter of the Shangshu mansion, and captured all the bandits alive. The daughter of the Shangshu mansion was a very gentle woman. At that time, she was so scared that she leaned against the carriage with a pale face. She had seen Tang Guo and met her face to face. She was not too familiar with her, but they did not have a bad relationship. In her heart, she actually admired a woman like Princess Mount Jing. She looked at the valiant woman in front of her, and she couldn't help but take a few more glances. The more she looked, the more beautiful she felt. If this Princess Mount Jing was a man, she didn't know how many women she could charm. Are you okay? The daughter of the Shangshu mansion quickly shook her head. I'm fine, I'm fine. I was just a little scared just now. Fortunately, there is Princess Mount Jing. Otherwise, I don't know what would happen today. She looked at the bandits who were tied up, and she was even more surprised that the people who saved her just now turned out to be women. Are these the Mount Jing guards? Sure enough, they look so majestic. They don't lose to men at all. The daughter of the Shangshu mansion looked at these women dressed simply, tied their hair high, and jumped easily on the horse. They looked so chic. She was very envious. If she could be like this, how good would that be? Unfortunately, she was destined to go to the palace, and there was no chance for that. 020 It just so happens that we are done here. I will send you back to the mansion, lest you encounter any accidents on the way. Tanguo glanced at the bandits, and she was very amused. These guys finally bumped into her. She had been waiting for a long time. Leave these people to me for interrogation. I will give you an explanation at that time. Thank you, Princess. The daughter of the Shangshu mansion went to the temple to burn incense and encountered bandits halfway. It happened that Princess Mount Jing was training the Mount Jing guards. She was lucky to escape and had been sent back to the mansion safely. This incident spread in the capital again. Countless people felt that the daughter of the Shangshu mansion was too lucky. She had personally seen the servants of the minister's manor. They collapsed when they met someone. Although the Mount Jing guards were all women, they didn't lose to men at all. They were skilled in martial arts and caught the robbers in no time. None of them were injured. After the daughter of the minister returned home, she told her family about this with lingering fear. Her words were full of envy. This time, it's really thanks to Princess Jingshan. It seems that I have to take a good look at the drill between the Jingshan guards and the elite soldiers selected by the emperor in a few days. Minister Shangshu, who had been looking down on her, was now on Tangua's side. He thought in his heart that if the Mount Still guards were really more powerful than those elite soldiers, such talents should be put in an important position. Even if she was a girl, as long as she could guard the borders and go to the battlefield to kill the enemy, it would be a good thing. At that time, they could also intimidate the small foreign countries and show them that the women of Baiguang country were not inferior to men. They would be even more afraid of Baiguang country. Father, daughter heard that many women in the Mount Jing Guard want to join the army. When the time comes, you have to speak a few words for the Mount Jing princess. Minister Shangshu couldn't help but smile. If the Mount Jing guards are really powerful, of course, I am willing to see such an existence. Right, Princess Jingshan said that she will personally interrogate the bandits. She will give me an explanation at that time. Apex. Chapter 43-76. Father, does Princess Jingshan mean that she will personally lead the Jingshan guards to suppress the bandits? Shangshu Darren frowned. The princess really said that she wants to interrogate them personally. Yes. There are no bandits on the road leading to the temple. It's so close to the capital. No matter how arrogant the bandits are, they won't dare to stay under the emperor's nose. It seems that someone wants to harm you. Shangshu Darren came to visit. Tanguo was not surprised. As an old fox in the imperial court, he would definitely guess that there was a problem with the bandits. It just so happened that she had already finished interrogating these bandits. Her interrogation was very simple. She directly used hypnosis, and these people would obediently answer. Wei Sun was watching from the side. He was prepared with all kinds of strange little bugs. He didn't expect that these people would answer whatever Princess Jingshan asked. He had interrogated countless people, but he had never seen such cooperation. Was this the difference between people? Of course, Wei Sun guessed that Princess Jingshan must have used a lot of methods. Shangshu Darren came at the right time. Tanguo had just finished interrogating, and those people had already signed their names. Tanguo gave Shangshu Darren a copy of the confession of these people. It was better to leave this kind of thing to her personally. Shangshu Darren fainted with anger when he saw it. The people who collaborated in this matter turned out to be several aristocratic young masters. One of them was his daughter's cousin. As for why they did this, Shangshu Darren was not clear. He only felt that these boys were simply messing around. 69 schoolbag. No matter who it was, they couldn't have it easy. If his daughter was really taken away by the bandits, the consequences would be unimaginable. Shangshu Darren thanked and hurried into the palace. At this time, the aristocratic young masters who planned this matter were a little flustered when they heard that the people were caught by the Jingshan guards. They gathered again in the secret house to discuss what they were going to do. Not good. Shangshu Darren left the Jingshan princess mansion in a hurry and went directly to the palace. Yes. The servant who stared at the Jingshan princess mansion hurriedly rushed in. What should we do? We just want to stop this matter. We didn't think of harming cousin. At most, we will make her disappear for a day and no longer be the crown prince's consort. The person who spoke was the cousin of Shangshu Darren. Between his cousin and the person he loved, he would of course choose the one he loved. They all felt that the Jingshan princess had been a prostitute, but she didn't do anything. Cousin was kidnapped for a day. She wouldn't lose her virginity, but her reputation would be bad. The crown prince would have an excuse to not marry her. They didn't think that Princess Jingshan would happen to run into them and capture all of them. Shangshu Darren, Shangshu, he should have found something. You are. After Princess Yunjin heard this, she didn't know what to say. When the time comes to investigate, what do you want Shireen to do? If His Majesty hears that you did this for Shireen, then Shireen will be pointed at by thousands of people. The matter of her staying in the capital will be exposed, and she may lose her life. To the crown. Crown Prince, your position as the crown prince will be in danger. Meng Shireen didn't know how to comment on this matter. She was most worried that these people would be punished because of her, to be. Chapter 43-77. Obviously, Meng Shireen didn't think about how innocent the daughter of the minister was. She could only see that these people who had committed such a crime for her might be severely punished. Shireen, don't blame yourself. I am willing to do this. Yes, we know that you are kind and will definitely not allow this. Who told me to not see you sad? Since I can't be with you, seeing you happy is also my wish. Facing the confessions of these infatuated people, Meng Shireen was moved. She quickly pulled Tang Wenpan and said what to do. Although Tang Wenpan was very resistant to these people expressing their feelings to Meng Shireen in front of him, he couldn't care so much at this time. For the sake of all of us present, we can't expose Shireen's matter in the capital. Otherwise, none of us can escape. Tang Wenpan calmly said, not only that, we have to send Shireen out of the city immediately, lest Princess Jingshan catch the evidence and it will be very unfavorable to us. In a short time, Shireen can't return to the capital. As long as you can be well, I can leave the capital and never come back for a lifetime. It's just temporary. When the limelight is over, I will pick you up. Tang Wenpan comforted. Princess Yunjin Royal took Meng Shireen's hand. You child, why is your life so bitter? If you were really my daughter, how good would that be? You wouldn't be bullied so casually. Mount Jing is also the same. Why are there so many things? Since they encountered that matter, why don't they just kill those robbers? They even have to interrogate them. Princess Yunjin Royal was very biased against Tang Gua. The people present didn't think there was any problem with what she said. In their opinion, Tang Guo was a busybody. That Mount Jing guard was also very troublesome. Couldn't she just help the people in the capital find the child? Why did she have to participate in these things? She even said that she wanted to join the army. How could a woman join the army? Shouldn't she be at home helping her husband and children? When you are sent in, don't say it's for Shireen. Tang Wenpan's face was serious. As for the reason, you just have to think of one now. It must be tenable and not be suspected. don't let it slip. Let's just say that we adore the daughter of a minister. Someone suggested. Tang Wenpan denied, the daughter of a minister has never come into contact with a strange man. Her upbringing is very strict. No matter where she goes, there are always maids accompanying her. She never leaves her side for even a moment. It's easy to find out that you don't have any interaction with her. By the way, do you recognize her? Everyone was silent. This rich young lady rarely showed her face. Even if she attended a gathering, they could only look at her from afar. They really couldn't recognize her. Then let's just say that we think that the daughter of a minister is worthy of being the crown princess. Tang Wenpan asked, why don't you come up with a plan? She was proficient in zither, chess, calligraphy, and painting. Otherwise, Imperial Mother wouldn't have taken a fancy to her. Can you find any flaw in her that makes her unfit to be the crown princess? No, they weren't familiar with him at all. To be able to be chosen by the Empress, he must be very outstanding in all aspects. This was not tenable. Why don't we put it this way? You all have sisters in your family, right? Just say that you think that your sister is more suitable for the crown princess. Black Sail said, this is what you think. It has nothing to do with you sisters. It's better than letting Shireen lose her life and all of us here get punished. At that time, you all can pretend to be scoundrels. No one can do anything about it. After receiving the Emperor's punishment, you will at most be scolded as bastards. All of this is for Shireen. Black Sail continued, don't forget that the daughter of a minister is my cousin. For Shireen, no one else is important. Moreover, your sisters don't seem to be of the same mother, right? Black Sail's words moved the young masters of the aristocratic families. They were not the sons of the first wife, but the sons of concubines. They had good looks and talents, so they were not outstanding. Their sisters and their family were not close to them. If they did this, they would at most be scolded as bastards. At least they could protect Shireen. Alright, let's do it this way. Tang Wenpan heard them agree and his heart relaxed. Peak. Chapter 4378. When the Emperor saw the evidence presented by Minister Shangshu, he felt it was absurd and laughed in anger. Your Majesty, as far as this subject knows, those bastards are on good terms with His Highness the Crown Prince. I don't know the reason why they tried to harm my daughter. Your Majesty, please uphold justice for my daughter. They must be severely punished. Minister Shangshu's face was full of fear. If Princess Jing Shan didn't happen to be training the Jing Shan guards in that place, I don't know what would have happened to my daughter. If his daughter was kidnapped by bandits, even if it was only for a while, her reputation would be ruined. People wouldn't care what the reason was and wouldn't care whether the bandits were real or fake. They would only think that this woman had fallen into the hands of bandits and was unclean. Zhen will investigate this matter clearly. When Minister Shangshu heard this, he understood that the Emperor wouldn't shield those bastards because of the Crown Prince. He was still secretly speculating whether the Crown Prince was dissatisfied with his daughter and also participated in it. If that was the case, he would rather raise his daughter at home for a lifetime than marry her to the Crown Prince. What glory and wealth, he was afraid that she wouldn't have that fate. It was just that he didn't know the details, so he didn't dare to mention it. It would be best if he could find a reason for his daughter not to marry the Crown Prince after the interrogation. When the Emperor saw Minister Shangshu's appearance, he knew that he was angry. In order to express his attitude, he arranged for Wei Sun to investigate this matter and let Princess Jing Shan supervise it. When Minister Shangshu heard this, he was happy. With these two coming, he was relieved. Minister Shangshu happily left the palace and secretly asked people to spread the news, spreading the bastard behavior of those aristocratic young masters throughout the capital. Including his cousin, the minister's daughter, he didn't forget about it. He didn't think for his cousin and did such a bastard thing. He didn't want to recognize this relative anymore. In just half a day, the people of the capital knew that the bandits were disguised by Wen Fan and the other aristocratic young masters. As for why they did this, the young masters had been arrested and interrogated by Wei Sun and Princess Jing Shan. Many people went to the interrogation area to watch, hoping to get the latest news. According to the previous discussion, the young masters said that they weren't convinced that the minister's daughter was chosen as the crown princess. They thought that their sisters were better than the minister's daughter. As soon as he said that, Tang Guo felt that she had encountered a retard. But after thinking about it, although these young masters of aristocratic families were talented and valued by their families, they were still born of concubines and had never considered the reputation of their sisters. It didn't seem strange that he would do such a thing for a halo female lead. After all, love was the most important thing in their hearts. Even if they were related to the person they loved, they could still give up on other people. They insisted that they were not convinced that the daughter of a minister was not as good as one of their sisters as the crown princess. He didn't mention anything about Meng Shirin or Tang Wenpan. Naturally, no one else would be implicated. In the end, the interrogation revealed that this matter had to be handed over to the emperor to make a decision. Tang Guo and Wei Sun did not continue to interrogate them. They had other reasons. Because of this result, Tang Guo was very satisfied. Since they wanted to cover up for Meng Shirin, then so be it. Anyway, they were all finished. This was the result she wanted. Wei Sun thought that since the princess liked this result, then he didn't need to add fuel to the fire. Vertex. Chapter 43-79. The confessions of the young masters caused an uproar among the crowd. They wondered if these people's brains had been kicked by a donkey. After what they said, it would be difficult for the daughters of those families to find a good husband in the future. Even if they explained that this was what they thought and that their sisters didn't know. But with such brothers' daughters, who would dare to touch them? Wouldn't that be troublesome? If things didn't go well, wouldn't they arrange for 2 assassins to take their lives? These people were each given 100 strokes by the emperor and stripped of their official positions. No matter what, the daughter of a minister was the future crown princess. Being humiliated by them like this punishment was very reasonable. When they were being beaten, they were still thinking that they were satisfied that they didn't implicate Shirin this time. However, they were all injured. If Shirin knew, she would be very sad and busy. They secretly decided that they would visit Shirin after their injuries were healed. What they didn't know was that after this incident, the betrothal between the sisters in the family who were originally engaged was called off. Originally, some clans had considered the 2 sisters, but they had also excluded them. The daughters of those families all had red eyes and tears. They complained about them in their hearts, but there was nothing they could do. It wasn't that they couldn't marry, but with their current reputation, they could only marry far away and into lower families. However, if this matter was known by their distant husbands, they would also look down on them. Master, what should we do? How could our daughters be implicated by that scoundrel? A good marriage was broken off just like that. Who in the capital doesn't avoid our family now? People who are slightly better won't even consider our daughters. If they are still young, it's fine to delay for 2 years and wait for this matter to die down. But if this doesn't happen, our daughters will be married off this year and next year. If we delay any longer, they will be old ladies and it will be even harder to choose. A certain family's matriarch said with a face full of worry. She was originally very proud. As a matriarch, not only did she teach the first wife's daughter and son well, but the concubine's daughter and son were also very outstanding. She could be called a model among matriarchs. Who knew that the concubine's son that she once thought was good would cause such trouble? How about this? Send that bastard away in 2 days. Send him away. To where? Send him far away and give him his share of the family's property. Tell him not to come back in the future. Give him the house in the other city as well. The old master said. The matriarch thought for a moment but shook her head. Master, I'm afraid this won't do. If they secretly come back and do something, won't it implicate our other children? His legs are on his body. It's not the emperor's imperial edict, so we can't stop them from coming back. Then I'll think about it again. I'll go and ask those old guys how to deal with it. The patriarchs and masters of several aristocratic families were all worried about this matter. When Tangua found out about this, she revealed a particularly happy smile. The opportunity to stir up trouble had come. If these people were not dealt with, not to mention the ladies of these families, even their sons would be affected to a certain extent. Their thoughts were so vicious, which family's young lady would dare to marry their son? These people were probably still feeling complacent that no one had found out the secret in their hearts, right? Princess, what are you thinking about? Why are you smiling so happily? Wei Sun asked. Not only was he smiling happily, that smile was simply creepy. He must have thought of some bad idea again. Peek. Chapter 4380. The families of those aristocratic young masters should be at their wits' end now, right? Yes, those few are not clear-headed and have implicated their peers in the same generation. Now, not only have their daughters' marriages been broken off, many of the men's marriages have also been broken off. Those who have not broken off are most likely involved too deeply and cannot break off. Speaking of which, they are innocent. Tangguit shook her head. They have already been punished, and the family can't expel them because of this matter. Uncle has already punished those who should be punished according to the law, and the rest are their family matters, so it's not good to interfere. It is said that they can get out of bed, so they were punished to kneel in the ancestral hall. Wei Sun said, their sisters in the family have all lost weight, but they are completely fine, kneeling in the ancestral hall, and their attitude is a little strange. Tangguo pursed her lips and smiled. Is it the kind where they feel like they have done something amazing? Princess can always hit the nail on the head. Wei Sun praised. That's because they think that their actions have protected their beloved Meng Shirin. Wei Sun was a little incredulous, so, they can sacrifice everyone in the family. In their opinion, it should be possible. Immersed in brainless love, they like to do such stupid things the most. Princess, do you have any thoughts? You were smiling so happily just now, was it because you were thinking about this? Wei Sun felt that the princess did not have a good impression of those aristocratic young masters. No, it should be Meng Shirin's group. She was even waiting for them to be unlucky. Occasionally, she would give them a little push to make them more unlucky. I remember that in 2 months, it will be the Thousand Dynasty Festival. At that time, many small foreign countries will come to Baiguang. Among them, there are many small countries that hope to intermarry with our Baiguang. However, our Baiguang has a strong army and strong horses, so we don't need intermarriage to maintain the friendship with these small foreign countries. Young people who can see eye to eye with each other are also supportive. Wei Sun instantly understood. Princess means to solve the crisis of those few families during this Thousand Dynasty Festival? That's right, if those princesses of the small foreign countries take a fancy to those aristocratic young masters and recruit them back, then everything will be fine, right? Tang Guo remembered that these princesses of small countries who came to find husbands had the right of inheritance, so they would not only have one husband. These husbands who were recruited from other countries couldn't possibly be the oldest one. To the men of Baiguang Kingdom, this was a humiliation. As long as we leak this information to those families, they will know what to do. Wei Sun understood. Princess invited me to play chess and drink tea today because you want me to do this. I can't go, can I? Tang Guo said matter-of-factly. Aren't you just an errand boy? It was impossible for a princess like her to do such a thing, right? Wei Sun was convinced by this matter-of-fact expression. Yes, he was just an errand boy. He had even asked for this errand job himself. Don't worry, Princess. I will handle this matter well. I guarantee that you will be satisfied. In order to save their family's reputation, the family heads of those aristocratic families were willing to send their bastards over. After marrying off to a small foreign country, it was almost impossible for them to come back. Princess, the tea here is good. Let me have another sip before I leave. Wei Sun didn't know when it started, but he liked to come here when he had nothing to do. It was good to see how the princess schemed against others. Peek. However, the result made everyone's jaws drop. The entire scene was filled with the petite girl pounding the large man. The scene was a bit unbearable to watch. The emperor almost covered his face. He looked at Tang Guo a few times, as if to say, "Can't you leave me some face?" However, the emperor was shocked to see such a powerful woman. Where did Mount Jing pick up these treasures? In the next 4 matches, the Mount Jing guards crushed the 30 elite soldiers. The ministers who previously looked down on them only felt their faces hurt. The minister's eyes were filled with stars. Beside him, there was a fair-skinned attendant who was still whispering to him, "Father, the Mount Jing guard is really powerful. Now that daughter doesn't need to enter the palace, can I go and be a Mount Jing guard?" Minister, didn't you say you were just going to watch the show? Vertex. Chapter 4382. Daddy, is Princess Jingshan powerful? Of course she is. Few men can match her. I also want to learn from her so that I can join the army in the future and live a different life. Last time when I encountered robbers, I couldn't do anything. Even if I shouted, I was afraid of attracting their attention. So, I could only stay in the carriage. If I also have the ability of Mount Jing, I will definitely beat the robbers away in the first place. Minister Shangshu had a headache. This requires talent. Not just any woman can be like my Mount Jing princess and Mount Jing Wei. So Daddy, do you mean to let me have a try? If I can't do it, it's not too late to come back. Once I can do it, our family may have a female general who can win glory for Daddy and the family. Who dares to be unconvinced? The minister spread out his hands. Do you really want to go? Daddy, just have a try. It's not a big deal. Just have a try secretly. There are several sisters in the family. It's not bad to stay in the boudoir. Daddy, let me experience it. The minister was worn out. His daughter was very smart. He often sighed that it would be great if he had a son. He didn't expect his daughter had such an ambition. Why not have a try? Have a try. Let's make it clear first. If you can't do it, come back quickly. I won't force you to marry. It's not that the family can't support you for a lifetime. If you don't marry, you can stay at home and do other things. Thank you, Daddy. Qinghuan almost laughed out happily. She asked in a low and urgent voice, Daddy, when it's over, please help me to talk to Princess Jingshan. Okay. Tang Guo really didn't expect that after the drill, these women of Mount Jing got permission to join the army. When she left, she gained the identity of the minister's daughter as a soldier. She could feel that the minister didn't intend to save his face at that time. It could be seen that he was a person who loved his daughter. Ordinary people would not indulge their daughter like this. In her memory, Qinghuan, the minister's daughter, was not a candidate for the crown prince's wife. Later, the man she liked had a good family background. But that man was dissolute, so Qinghuan didn't like him. The minister spoiled his daughter very much. That man didn't care about his daughter at all. He didn't restrain himself before marriage, so he simply broke off the engagement. However, this daughter of a minister did not have any intention of marrying. Instead, she devoted herself to the mountains and rivers, traveling everywhere and restoring many ancient books. This woman was not ordinary. Since she was here, she had to turn her into an outstanding female soldier. How far she could go would depend on herself. Qinghuan didn't expect Princess Jingshan to be so easy to talk to. After accepting her, she let her secretly move to the princess mansion the next day and train her every day. Tang Guo gave her something to eat every day, and she always added some ingredients. Besides, Qinghuan was really talented. In particular, his comprehension ability was very strong. She was increasingly optimistic about him. The minister had only wanted to give it a try so that his daughter would back off. Who would have thought that a month later, his daughter, who had tanned and slimmed down, would perform a set of sword techniques in front of him? He quickly, accurately, and ruthlessly chopped down several wooden stakes to show him. In the end, he even chopped down a brick with his bare hands. Finally, she giggled and said to him, "Daddy, your daughter can be considered talented, right? Look, isn't this a success? All right." Seeing that his daughter was so successful in everything, the minister could only agree. Vertex. Chapter 4383. With the Princess Jingshan and the Jingshan Guard, his daughter's actions were not shocking. At least, even if the sky fell, there was still Princess Jingshan to support it. His daughter had been different since she was a child. It was really hard for her to stay in the boudoir. However, she was obedient and had always followed the rules. Now that there was a chance, let's give it a try. This time, Minister Shangshu directly announced to the public that his daughter would follow Princess Jingshan. The emperor was a little surprised. "Minister Qing, why did you make such a decision?" the emperor asked. Minister Shangshu sighed. "Since my daughter was frightened, she couldn't sleep at night. Later, I thought of a way to let her learn martial arts. Sure enough, she was much better. She said that she envied Princess Jingshan, so I made the decision to let her follow Princess Jingshan. Princess Jingshan is such an excellent woman that my daughter has always admired. Seeing my daughter recover, I think it's worth it. Jingshan is indeed extraordinary." The emperor didn't ask much. Anyway, there was already Jingshan. It was nothing to have another Qinghuan. Couldn't other ministers understand that the crown princess was not good enough? They actually wanted to send their daughter to suffer. Many years later, when they saw the valiant woman on horseback who could take a person's head with a knife, they would no longer dare to say that the crown princess was very good. The Thousand Wave Festival that Tang Guo and several masters of aristocratic families looked forward to came. Before the Thousand Wave Festival, the masters of several aristocratic families asked their bastards to receive the princesses of the vassal states. With the talent and appearance of their bastards, they could definitely attract the vassal state's princess. At that time, they would design a plan, and the vassal state's princess would definitely take the trouble away. As far as they knew, these vassal states' princesses could hold real power. The princess's men had to listen to the princess. It was impossible for him to run back here. After they solved the trouble, other families should no longer look at their family's juniors with different eyes. The emperor was well aware of the actions of several aristocratic families. Wei Sun also told him about it. After the emperor knew it, he didn't mean to stop them. Instead, he gave them a lot of convenience, so that they could smoothly arrange those bastards to receive the princess and play with the princess. At that time, if the princess took a fancy to them, he, as the emperor, would give them an empty title of prince, which was quite a face. When the young masters of the aristocratic families were suddenly given such a task, they thought that their families really needed them. After receiving the princess, they tried their best to show off, as if they wanted to show off all their talents. However, he didn't know that his other brothers and sisters were trying their best not to show their faces, afraid that they would be targeted by those people from the small countries. Even if he had an excuse to decline, it would still be troublesome. Tang Guo planned to let the Mount Jing guards join the army next year. When the number of people increased, the emperor would have some arrangements. In addition, Qinghuan, the daughter of a minister, would also go next year. He didn't know how many years it would be before he could return. She had to teach them more skills, especially Qinghuan, the daughter of a minister, whose comprehension and memory were both excellent. He was also smart and eager to learn, so he would definitely be able to achieve great things. She had mixed quite a number of puppets inside to ensure their safety. When it came to the Thousand Wave Festival, the princess of this small country had already taken a liking to the handsome young man who received them. Seeing this, the patriarchs of the aristocratic families decided to use their last resort. What's done cannot be undone. They had all inquired about it. The princesses of small foreign countries didn't care about such things. Furthermore, they would be very happy to have a meal with a handsome princess. Vertex. Chapter 4384. In the scheme of the aristocratic family heads, during the Thousand Dynasty Festival, the young masters of the aristocratic families would have sex with the princesses of the vassal states. When Wen Fan and the other young masters woke up that morning, they were dumbfounded. Especially when they saw the vassal princess lying beside them, their hearts turned cold. Their minds were filled with thoughts of how they could face Meng Shireen. Just when their minds were in a mess, the vassal princess's men came in. Of course, this matter could not be concealed. Thus, these vassal states entered the palace to discuss with the emperor how to resolve this matter. After all, their princess was a noble and had the possibility of inheriting the throne in the future. In any case, their intention was that since they had slept with each other, they might as well bestow a marriage. Their princess would be responsible. They also knew the customs of Beiguang country. Thus, they did not say that they would be responsible for the young masters. Instead, they said that since the two of them had already reached this stage, it would be unreasonable if they did not get married. Beiguang country was surrounded by countless vassal states. Who would specially understand their customs? Especially these young masters who thought that they were overflowing with talent and would definitely be put in an important position. At this time, even those who understood would not be able to say more than a few words to them. Wen Fan and the rest had already lost their face in the previous matter. Not many people were willing to have anything to do with them. The emperor looked at the people below. The vassal states stood together with their princesses. The aristocratic family heads stood together with Wen Fan and the other young masters. However, he felt that even though these family heads looked gloomy, they were actually overjoyed in their hearts. After scheming for so long, they finally managed to send these scoundrels far away. Furthermore, it was the type that would solve the problem once and for all. The emperor first allowed both parties to argue. Other than Wen Fan and the other young masters, the rest would agree to the marriage. Thus, as the emperor, he did not need to be anxious. When the time came, he would just announce the result and issue an imperial edict. After about 15 minutes, everyone finished arguing. The result was as the emperor expected. The vassal states won. Since things have reached this stage, I will bestow a marriage to all of you. The emperor ignored Wen Fan and the other young masters' looks of disbelief and despair. Since you are marrying the princesses of the vassal states, then your statuses cannot be lowered. I will bestow upon you the title of king. I heard that the princesses of the vassal states will inherit the throne in the future. You definitely cannot stay in Baiguang country. Then after the Thousand Dynasty Festival, all of you can leave with the princesses. The emperor issued an imperial edict on the spot. It was difficult to change his words. Black Sail and the others knew that it was useless to rely on the emperor. How could they marry a foreign princess? They only had Meng Shireen in their hearts. Other than Meng Shireen, they would not marry anyone else. However, no one here pondered over their thoughts. The small countries were very happy, and they didn't dare to go too far. They quickly offered up the gold and silver they had brought. They knew that they could win this time because something really happened between the princess and the young master of the aristocratic family. Baiguang country, which was more conservative, would certainly have such a result. Rather than saying that Baiguang country had compromised with them, it was better to say that it was their own custom. The patriarchs of the aristocratic families were also extremely happy. However, they did not dare to let down their guard as they had not been sent away yet. These brainless people might even run away from the marriage and implicate their families. They had to make preparations to prevent those bastards from causing any more trouble. Vertex. Chapter 4385. The young masters of the world, who were planning to escape the marriage, found that their escape route was completely blocked. They could not leave at all. Even if they just took a step out, they would be caught immediately. Of course, Tanggua had a part to play in the failure of the aristocratic young masters to escape. Otherwise, the aristocratic families might not have been able to stop them. Not to mention other things, these people were very smart in this aspect. They had no sense of responsibility and never cared about the safety of their families and loved ones. They were born with a love brain. Meng Shireen was still in the capital. She did not dare to enter the capital in the short term. Such days really made her feel aggrieved. When did she have to live such sneaky days? She did not know when she would be able to walk freely in the capital. Princess Yunjin often left the capital to visit Meng Shireen, using the excuse of going to burn incense. Tanggua knew clearly and did not plan to care for the time being. Anyway, Meng Shireen was very good at trapping the people around her. She would trap them one by one and no one would be able to escape. Today, Princess Yunjin went out of the capital to burn incense again. In fact, she missed Meng Shireen very much. Also, she saw how outstanding Tanggua was at the Thousand Wave Festival and how much the foreign countries admired her. She did not feel good. She could only find some comfort in Shireen. Of course, she would not tell Meng Shireen about this. Instead, she talked about the excitement of the Thousand Wave Festival and the strange things that the foreign countries brought. Meng Shireen did not listen seriously. Because of the Thousand Wave Festival, she had not seen the people around her for a long time. When she heard that Ming Fan and the others were going to receive the foreign countries, Tang Wenpan and the other sons of the emperor naturally could not leave. In this huge residence, there was only her and a few servants. If Princess Yunjin did not come to visit her, she would be alone. Meng Shireen did not like this very lonely day. She hoped that it could be as lively as before, with those familiar people by her side. She hoped that this lively thousand-wave festival would be over soon. What's the point of being so busy and lively? It doesn't belong to me, so what's the point? Her friends should also feel that the thousand-wave festival was very boring. They had to force a smile to deal with it. They must be very tired in their hearts. Eldest Princess Yunjin finally thought of something and decided to tell Meng Shirin about it. At this time, there was no smile on her face. There's one more thing I need to tell you. What is it? It's just Black Sail and the others. Princess Yunjin hesitated for a moment before continuing. After the 10,000 Banner Festival, they might have to leave with the princess of the small foreign country. Meng Shirin suddenly sobered up. Eldest princess, what's going on? Sigh, this was all an accident. Princess Yunjin told Meng Shirin everything she knew. Meng Shirin didn't know what to say. Therefore, it was Black Sail and the others who had intimate relations with the princesses of those vassal states that the emperor bestowed upon them on marriage and bestowed upon them the title of royal prince. Why would they do that? Meng Shirin couldn't believe it. Weren't these people all against her? Why did they suddenly get together with those princesses? Isn't it normal for men to have a change of heart? Eldest Princess Yunjin said, moreover, they are now dukes, and they have to bring back the princesses of the small countries. I heard that these princesses all have real power in their countries. When the time comes, they might even be able to control these small countries. How could they not be tempted by such a temptation? Chapter 4386. Princess Royal Yunjin's words made Meng Shirin very upset. She felt as if she had been betrayed. How could Princess Royal Yunjin deceive her? So this could only be true. Sure enough, was power so tempting? They were still the same as the others, not the ones she knew before. Princess Royal Yunjin didn't know the truth of the matter, which was deliberately concealed by several parties. After all, it was related to the friendship between Baiguang country and several small foreign countries. Of course, they hoped that the princess and these young masters would love each other. Princess Royal Yunjin actually didn't have any power. Her IQ wasn't online. What she could investigate was what others were willing to let her see. Meng Shirin didn't plan to ask these people about the situation at all. Since they were like this, what was the point of asking them? It would also cause unnecessary misunderstandings. Since this is their choice, I can only give them my blessings. Shirin, don't be sad. There are many people around you, including me. It's such a pity. Why aren't you my biological daughter? When there is a chance in the future, I must mention this to the emperor, so that you can freely enter and leave the capital. In fact, she had another idea. It would be better if she could take Meng Shirin as her adopted daughter. But in the current situation, it was impossible. This made Princess Royal Yunjin very angry. The Thousand Directions Festival was not as boring as Meng Shirin imagined. On the contrary, it was very interesting. Because of the power of Baiguang country, these small foreign countries brought all kinds of rare things as a tribute. Once, Tanguo recognized the great use of the rare things brought by a small foreign country. The emperor thought that she was well-read and knowledgeable, so he let her see these little things. If it could be kept in Baiguang country, of course, it should be kept. It would be best if it became something of Baiguang country. Tanguo also had the same idea. Since her uncle was so supportive of her and gave her so many benefits, she didn't need to worry about it. Of course, she would use this identity to give him something in return. No matter what, during the reign of her uncle, Baiguang country must be prosperous. In the capital, there would be peddlers from small foreign countries selling their local products. This was suggested by Tanguo to make a special place for them. This way, it was easier to manage. The commoners did not need to run around like headless flies. They only needed to find the right place to buy things that they had never seen before. Every day, it was bustling with activity. Countless people came to play. It could be said that this thousand-wave festival was really interesting. Tang Guo also suggested that they should trade more with these small foreign countries. They had some special products and were quite rich. In a certain area of the capital, it was specially provided for the peddlers of these small foreign countries. The products of Baiguang country would become more and more abundant if they brought goods from other small countries to trade. Of course, this was only limited to the small foreign states that had a good relationship with Baiguang state. If any small country was found to have bad intentions towards Baiguang country, they would immediately ban their trade. When the emperor heard this, he felt that it was feasible. His niece had recently found a lot of treasures for him. It was said that the treasures she had cultivated were all useful in Baiguang country. Unknowingly, a month of the 10,000 Directions festival had passed. Those small countries that had a good harvest left with their loot satisfied. Vertex. Chapter 4387. During this thousand-wave festival, they realized that the princess of Baiguang country was also very impressive. She was not inferior to their own country's princess and was even more outstanding. Tang Guo's reputation had spread throughout the surrounding small countries. There were even people who wanted to marry her. Of course, it was just a fool's dream. Not to mention Tang Guo, even the officials of Baiguang country saw her value and would oppose it. What made them afraid was that Tang Guo had the freedom to choose her own marriage and no one could interfere with it. Fortunately, Tang Guo did not have such intentions and was wholeheartedly focused on her own career. Among them, there were also some young masters who expressed their goodwill to her, but they all failed. Over time, everyone felt that she was not interested in that aspect. At this moment, everyone had almost forgotten that she had once led a wandering life. It was only because the radiance on her body was too bright that some weak things were not easy to conceal and were automatically overlooked. Black Sail and a few other young masters also followed the princess of the small country and left. Of course, they were forced to do so. Seeing that they were getting further and further away from the capital, no one came to stop them. Meng Shirin also did not appear, causing them to feel despair. After arriving at the small country, Black Sail and the rest did not give up on the thought of escaping. The small country that Black Sail was currently in was in the middle of a desert. He tried to escape many times but was unable to do so. Don't talk about escaping, the surroundings were all desert. He could not even tell the direction and could only stay in that place. He was also thinking if he could return with those merchants in the future. Who knew that the princess understood his thoughts and had already warned the people of the entire country? In short, he would not be able to escape. After being tormented for too long, Black Sail gradually accepted his fate. Because he was too stubborn, the princess could not lower herself to coax him every time. The initial feeling of novelty had already passed. Black Sail, who was not favored by the princess, would naturally be looked down upon and his life would be difficult. Black Sail wanted to live a better life, so he went to curry favor with the princess. Unexpectedly, he found out that the princess had many husbands. After knowing the customs here, Black Sail's outlook on life was refreshed and he was simply unable to believe it. But seeing the princess hugging left and right, he could not say anything. In the end, in order to eat her up, he still had to curry favor with her. Of course, in his heart, he was unwilling and swore that he would go back one day. After that, Blacky Fan never had the chance to return. The princess did not want to lose face because of this, so she kept a close eye on Blacky Fan. Actually, there was no need to watch him too closely. As long as no one helped Black Sail, he would not be able to return and could only stay in this small desert country. A long time later, Black Sail began to recall why he had fallen to such a state. He was surprised to find that it was because of Meng Shireen. If it weren't for Meng Shireen, he would still be the elegant and talented young master of an aristocratic family. Even though he was the son of a concubine, his father valued him very much. Even the emperor valued him very much and gave him a small official title. Ever since he met Meng Shireen, it seemed that his life was turning in another direction. His family, relatives, and future didn't seem to be worth mentioning in front of Meng Shireen. She was the most important. For the sake of Meng Shireen's marriage, he didn't hesitate to ruin his cousin's reputation. After being betrothed, he still wanted to escape from the clan. At that time, he was very resentful. Why did his father lock him up? Now, he understood that if he really ran away from the marriage, his entire family would be implicated. Black Sail regretted, but unfortunately, it was already too late. Vertex. Chapter 4388. After Wen Fan and the other bastards were sent away, several aristocratic families breathed a sigh of relief. Next, they had to manage their reputation well and let everyone see that this was just a piece of rat shit spoiling a pot of soup. Their family head was not that bad. After the Thousand Wave Festival, the number of foreigners in the capital increased. Most of them were merchants from small foreign countries that were friendly with Baiguang country. Gradually, there was a place in the capital that was called the Trade Street. Here, one could buy all kinds of strange things. It depended on one's taste. Because of the strict supervision, it was not easy to be cheated again. Many curious people liked to come here. The people in the capital knew that this trade street was actually proposed by Princess Jingshan, and they liked this princess even more. Princess Yunjin didn't go to the trade street because this place appeared because of Tanggua. She couldn't bring herself to do that. She was so angry that she ran to the emperor and said something. Jingshan is now ambitious. Your Majesty, are you not afraid that she will have other thoughts and shake the crown prince's position? When the emperor heard this, his expression was indescribable. Whether Jingshan had that intention or not, he was sitting in such a high position. Could it be that he couldn't see it clearly? Sometimes, he wondered if his sister, who was born from the same mother, had a problem with her brain. Her daughter was so outstanding, yet she didn't get close to her. Instead, she went against her everywhere. She couldn't wait for the other party to be bad. They were not mother and daughter, but enemies, right? Imperial sister, Jingshan is very good. The emperor used a few simple words to express his attitude. He hoped that Princess Yunjin wouldn't talk nonsense again. If it was a prince who did this, can you still sit here with peace of mind, Your Majesty? If it was another person who spoke like this, the emperor would have been furious. After all, this was a rebellious thing. But this person was Princess Yunjin, his imperial sister. The other party spoke without thinking. She didn't have any ability, but she had high standards. In addition, before his mother passed away, she told the emperor to take good care of his imperial sister. As long as she didn't make a threatening mistake, he wouldn't do anything to her. But he didn't know that after so many years, her brain didn't grow at all. Imperial sister, your misunderstanding of Jingshan is too deep. The emperor didn't dare to say that if Jingshan was his son, he couldn't wait to train him well. He was so happy that he would wake up laughing in his dreams. Why can't imperial sister see Jingshan doing well? The emperor knew about some of them. It was that Tanggua was a prostitute, and his sister was biased against her. Now, Mount Jing was already very outstanding, subverting her royal sister's understanding, making her a little angry because everything was beyond her control. Also, Mount Jing wouldn't listen to her for everything. For example, the incident with Meng Shirin last time was hated by her royal sister. The better Mount Jing was, the worse her vision would be, which would make her angry. He just didn't know if there were any other reasons. If it was just this, it would be too laughable. Seeing that there was no result, Princess Yunjin left. Princess Yunjin sat in the carriage with a gloomy face. Why didn't she like Mount Jing? Because ever since she gave birth to this daughter, she had not had a good day. She was married to a faraway place. It was considered a political marriage. At that time, Baiguang's state was still not powerful. When she was pregnant, she thought that it would be a boy so that she would be doted on. She didn't expect it to be a girl. Ever since she had this daughter, she suffered all kinds of ridicule and neglect. Later, the country she was in turmoil. Just because she was a daughter, she was treated like an invisible person. When she was fleeing, those people actually forgot about her. It was also her identity as the princess of Baiguang's state that allowed her to escape. Those people didn't dare to do anything to her. They even treated her well. Later, she heard that the king died of a serious illness while fleeing with his concubines. At this time, Baiguang's state knew of her existence and arranged for her to be brought back. Along the way, she had a delicate little daughter. The journey had to be slowed down and there were all kinds of twists and turns. Later on, when that girl disappeared, she heaved a sigh of relief, feeling that she had thrown away a burden. After returning to Baiguang's state for countless days and nights, she was actually a little guilty because she didn't seriously look for her daughter. She was a little scared. When Meng Shirin appeared, she was very good to her out of guilt, especially when she knew that the other party was on good terms with the crown prince. In addition, Meng Shirin was very well behaved. After she appeared, she had good luck again and again, unlike before. She didn't expect it to be a fake, but she would rather it be real. Sure enough, after that really appeared, she didn't have a good day. The summit. Chapter 4389. A few days after the 10,000 Dynasties Festival, it was a new year. At the beginning of the year, a major event happened. The Mount Jing guards under Princess Jingshan joined the army and went to the battlefield to kill enemies. There were a lot of Mount Jing guards, and most of them were women who were willing to join the army. Except for a few, the rest were either tricked into entering the brothel by mistake, or were forced by others. Now, they were rescued by Tanghua. Among them, Qinghuan, the daughter of a minister, also went. The Mount Jing guards were still called Mount Jing guards. The emperor did not intend to give them a more favorite name. This was the first women's army in Baiguang country. They didn't need to be trained at all, because Tanghua had trained them enough and sent them directly to the frontier. It's exactly the place that Tanghua was looking forward to, but that place isn't that stable. There were restless countries coveting the resources of Baiguang country. There were also some restless mountain bandits who often came to harass the people of Baiguang country, which needed many soldiers to guard. Everyone seemed to be used to it. As long as it was related to Princess Jingshan, no matter how shocking it was, they would accept it later and think it was right. Of course, they hadn't realized this problem until now. Recently, the Empress had been very worried. Because of the matter with the daughter of the minister, when she was selecting the crown princess for Tang Wenpan, she was shocked to find that many of the daughters she thought were good had already settled their marriages before the 10,000 Dynasties Festival. For example, the daughter of a cabinet minister was going to get married in 2 months. The Empress didn't like the rest who were not engaged. She was a little annoyed and was even more angry with Meng Shirin. If it weren't for Meng Shirin, how could those boys do that kind of thing and cause many daughters to get engaged in a hurry? What did it mean? It was obvious that she didn't want to be the crown princess. She was afraid that after becoming the crown princess, something like the daughter of a minister would happen. The emperor knew about this. In his heart, Tang Wenpan was no longer qualified to be the crown prince. He was really not in a hurry about Tang Wenpan's marriage. On the surface, he didn't show anything. In fact, he had been secretly observing other half-grown princes to see which ones were more in line with his mind. As for Tang Wenpan, the crown prince, he didn't intend to abolish him for the time being. He would stand here as a target first. In this way, the new heir would have time to grow up. When Tang Guan knew that the empress was worried, she almost laughed out loud. She deliberately blew up the matter of the minister's daughter. Her purpose was to let others know that marrying her daughter to Tang Wenpan was not necessarily a good thing. If someone was still willing to marry Tang Wenpan and become the crown princess after knowing this result, then it could only be said that the other party was gambling, and it depended on luck. Sure enough, it was as she had thought. Those who had a bit of foresight all felt that Tang Wenpan was not suitable and quickly chose another family for their daughter. When she heard that the daughter of the cabinet minister was also engaged, she was a little happy. In his memory, this young lady was just as unlucky as the original owner. Both were undeserved disasters. After being framed by those bastards, it was basically impossible for her to live happily in this era and find a good family. The Empress has no other choice. I heard that she has already retreated and finally found a few suitable candidates. Wei Sun said. It was very easy for him to know this information. Those families didn't avoid it. Tang Guo was puzzled. Are those daughters of rich families willing to accept it? Vertex. Chapter 4390. There was a smile in Wei Sun's eyes. She's the crown princess after all. Everyone wants to take a gamble. If she succeeds, she'll be rich and powerful in the future. Her status won't just be a little higher. That's true. Uncle doesn't seem to plan on getting involved in this matter. Instead, he's letting the Empress deal with it. Tang Guo knew what the Emperor meant. It was time to give up on Tang Wenpan. Wei Sun nodded. But His Majesty's words were very beautiful. Let the Empress choose carefully. She must choose a crown princess that she is satisfied with. It seems that the Empress wants the crown prince to marry a concubine. What about Meng Shirin? He didn't enter the city again. Not at the moment. I know that the princess is very concerned about this matter, so I've arranged for people to keep an eye on it. If she enters the city, I will inform you immediately. Tang Guo was satisfied. Thank you for your hard work, eunuch Wei. Wei Sun felt very strange in his heart. Every time the princess smiled and said to him that it had been hard on him and even called him eunuch Wei, he felt uncomfortable all over. Clearly, other people also called him that, but he didn't feel awkward at all. Speaking of which, it's been a few years. I still don't know what grudges there are between eunuch Wei and the Empress. At this point, you should be able to talk about it, right? No matter what, they were now planning all kinds of things together. They were like grasshoppers on the same boat. Wei Sun really didn't expect Tang Guo to ask this. Just as Tang Guo said, since they were so concerned, they could say it. Princess, you really want to know? If it's convenient for eunuch Wei to speak, if you know about this, the princess will completely oppose the Empress's side. Aren't I her enemy? Eunuch Wei has helped me investigate so many things. There is already enmity between the two of us, so there is no need to talk about opposing each other. Wei Sun, my family died because of the Empress. At that time, I was studying outside and luckily escaped. Later, when I went back to investigate, I found out that it was the Empress who shielded her brother and killed my family. Eunuch Wei is a very decisive person. Tang Guo first glanced at Wei Sun's face, then her gaze slowly shifted downwards. You're such a good person, but you do some things just like that. Wei Sun understood what she meant. His expression was very uncomfortable, and upon closer inspection, he even had a slight blush on his face. This matter was not easy to explain. It also involved his own secret, so he did not intend to tell her. Speaking of this matter, it was also a freak combination of factors that allowed him to come to where he was today. So, Eunuch Wei, do you have any other plans after moving to the Empress? For example, the people who framed your family. Wei Sun, as long as the Empress falls, those people will naturally break the law. It's very easy. If the Empress did not fall, it would be very difficult to deal with them. Even if we can deal with it, the biggest culprit is the Empress. If it weren't for the local officials and the Empress orders, my family wouldn't have been killed. When Wei Sun mentioned this, his expression was very serious, and there was a faint anger in his eyes. She didn't want to talk about this anymore, so she changed the topic. Speaking of which, we've been in the capital for so long. I wonder what good food there is in the capital. Eunuch Wei should know, right? If the princess wants to eat, I will take you there at any time. Wei Sun was already used to the sudden change of topic. Princess Jing Shan had such a temperament. The two of them stopped talking about business. They got up and went out to look for food. No one would think that there was a problem with Wei Sun following Princess Jing Shan because he was only a eunuch. Most of the time, he was here to help Princess Jing Shan. This was permitted by the Emperor. Vertex. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.